Everybody, welcome back to Tour Life. You have Brodie and Uli as always. Silas running the sticks and everything like that behind. Today is February. Or what the heck? Today's March 12th. Today's February? Oh my gosh. Today's going to be a good show. You already know it's going to be a good show. Tuesday, March 12th. Big show tonight. We're going to be doing a full recap of WACO, everything that went down that you guys saw, and maybe some stuff that you guys didn't see. We're going to be talking about Calvin Heimburg and how he's doing with his injury. Gannon Buhr and Luke Humphries, which Luke Humphries is going to be joining the show for the first time. Excited to talk to both of those guys after their performance this past weekend. Kristin Tattar, we got to talk about it at some point. I've got things to say about the situation that's happening over in FPO. We've got a wild story of the week, Edwin Stats, and listener questions. No sponsor, no ad read today. Uli, you want anything? I'll give you the floor. Do you have anything to promote? Anything that you want the people to know about?
Shoot. Let me think of one. Oh,
sorry, I kind of just threw you out.
Yeah.
Threw
that's
you
okay. That's okay. I appreciate it. I mean, Power Disc Golf Academy right now, that's my big move. It's going crazy right now. We got a big time partnership with the Pro Tour, so you're seeing it all over the place, lots of commercials and stuff, but we're running sales as we speak. So go over there. All I hear is good feedback from anybody who tells me that they've joined, or I see a lot of that gear out there. So it's going really good. And that's what I've been pushing really hard lately. Also the website, man, for both you and I, go to the Discraft website and buy some apparel or some discs.
Yeah, there was a lot of apparel being worn at WACO, so it's always cool to see everyone in their foundation, tour life, whatever it may be, stuff out there. So we appreciate you guys all supporting. All right, let's do a little week recap between me and you. First thing I gotta ask, Uli, Pittsburgh Steelers, let's ride.
Let's ride, baby. Let's ride, baby.
How we feeling over there?
So pumped. Dude, it's been so long since we had a quarterback. And I'm not saying that he's the answer. I'm not saying that. But listen.
He could be.
Kenny Pickett had like 16 touchdowns total, bro. Russ last year had like 28 or something.
Kenny Pickett's got small hands.
He's got tiny hands, dude.
What people are saying.
And we got him for $1 million. We just actually traded Deontay Johnson too for a 7th round pick and a DB. So I think we're gonna be a problem.
I saw them saying that he did a team friendly he signed a team friendly deal, which I think some people are speculating it wasn't really actually like team friendly. It's just like, that's what he's worth. I think people were thinking he's worth a lot more than he actually was. So it sounds like you guys got a pretty good deal, or at least, you're not paying him a crazy amount of money that's going to put you guys in trouble. But
1.8 million.
I thought, if you think like disc golf is crazy with like all the different rumors and signings, gosh, yesterday was, if you're an NFL fan and you have
it was crazy.
Yesterday,
it went wild.
I couldn't stop refreshing my Twitter. I just wanted to see what was next. It was nuts.
My mom's a big Ravens fan, and they just signed Derrick Henry to a huge and that guy's a monster. Along with,
I thought he was going to Dallas. They got rid of Pollard. I was like, oh my gosh, Derrick Henry's going to Dallas, and I guess they're like, we're just gonna ride it with Deuce Vaughn, the 5'6" guy. So. We'll see what happens there. Did you tune into UFC 299? Did you get a chance to watch any of the fights?
Oh, yeah.
Dustin Poirier is an absolute dog.
Dude, that was insane.
Oh, my gosh.
Dude, and the best part about that, I mean, I love fighting. I love watching it. It's like one of my favorite things. But when you see those guys get knocked out and those guys doink them off the bong, that's crazy to watch.
He's crazy. I think he's like 2-0 or 3-0. He had blonde hair, dyed blonde hair. I don't know where he came from, but he went and kicked. It was one of the earlier heavyweight fights. He went and kicked, got blocked and then like lost balance and started stumbling backwards. And so the guy started charging at him and he's stumbling backwards, just doing this. And one of them connects and the guy's like, goes to sleep. And I'm just like, oh my, yeah, the fights were nuts. I can't wait for UFC 300. I don't know how I feel about Sugar Sean. There were some videos that came out. Marab came up to him and was like, hey, you should have called me out. Like, I want to be the next one. And Marab's looked like an absolute maniac. And he played it off of like, I don't even know who that is. I don't know who you are. Like, he's playing that game, which I have a hard time believing. If you're in the fight world and you're a fighter, how do you not know like all the top people in your division? You have to.
I don't either. But I do know that guy's a dog.
Yes, I want to see that fight. I don't want to see Sean go up and weight and fight.
Yeah, that was weird. Spanish.
I want to see him fight Marab. But all right, enough UFC talk. I know enough people are probably like, come on, let's get to the disc golf. We're going to talk about football, UFC. We're going to talk about some other sports in the beginning. So you guys can always, if you listen to this after the fact, you guys can fly through it. But I had to talk about that. I opened up my first box of Brixton. I did a golden era box. It was $150. Let me show you what I pulled.
Right.
Very, very impressed. I think I misread the box. I think I thought it said one autograph per box. So I got a bunch. This set's really cool because every card is like numbered. So all these cards, they're only 100 or less of these cards. But then I got some really cool autos that I want to share to you guys real quick. So the first one is Thomas Gilbert, Nate Sexton, dual auto, which is out of 25. Then I got, this one's clean, a Matty O auto. Very cool Matty O auto. This was also out of 25. One of the legends, Avery Jenkins, out of 50.
Solid.
Which is super sick. And then Luke Humphries out of 10. Speak of the devil. He's coming on the show tonight, folks.
Gonna have to show him that.
I'll keep this one out so I can show him that. And then look at this, a royalty, two of the GOATs, Ken Climo and Lane King out of 5.
Anything Ken Climo right now that you pull is nasty.
This is like $150 card. Like that one card paid for the entire box. Yeah. So disc golf cards, guys. I open a lot of cards. I've got my whole desk right now is full of cards, which Kelsey just pulled the best card out of Rookies and Stars. This is an Anthony Richardson auto. This is a $500+ card. It's the best card you can pull out of the entire box that we just pulled. We pull a lot of cards. The value that you can pull out of disc golf cards right now, because they're so limited, there's not that many of them. So a lot of these cards, I think maybe in 5 years, 10 years, the value of a lot of these cards are probably gonna be a lot less than what they are now. But if you're interested in ripping disc golf cards, you got to check it out. Brixton Disc Golf, got to check it out. Very cool stuff.
But if you pull a good one, they're going to just go up in value. If you pull like the Ken Climos, it's good to go.
I'm talking more. Yeah, I'm talking about maybe some of these base cards that you could sell maybe for $5 or $10 right now. I don't know if they'd really go that way. No. But we'll see. All right.
Funner than you thought?
Oh, yes. It was way, way more enjoyable than I thought. Very looking forward to ripping more disc golf cards because I know everyone too. And I have like stories to tell. Yeah. So it's a little bit different, a little bit of different vibe, but it was nice to mix it up a little bit. All right. I'm going to leave the floor for you second because your storyline on how you did in this tournament was a bigger storyline than myself. So I'll go first. Round 1, we started off at the Beast. I played decently well. I had 7 birdies, but 4 bogeys. Just made some really mental mistake. Some mental mistakes, throwing some shots that I probably shouldn't have thrown, or picking the wrong disc and trying something. 4 bogeys, not great out there for 3 under. Round 2, I went out to Lake Waco. This was a course that I felt very good about. I thought it suits a lot of my strengths, but just didn't have it that day. I ended up missing a 15-footer for par, which is always brutal to miss one of those close ones. But I took 6 birdies and 4 bogeys for a 2 under round out there. After the round, one of the cooler things I've done so far on tour. For about 15 or 20 minutes as I walked to the car, I saw James Conrad and Brian Earhart throwing the Frisbee around. And I was like, man, I haven't thrown an Ultra Star around in a hot minute. So I was like, hey, give me a toss. And you know how it is. One toss leads to two, leads to. I was probably throwing for 10 to 15 minutes with those guys. A lot of fun. Brought back a lot of good memories of throwing the Frisbee around with the boys and catching it. So that was actually really, really enjoyable. Round 3 was my best round out at Waco. 10 birdies, 2 bogeys, a couple holes still was like, man, that's a shot that I have to try to get up and down like 9.9 out of 10 times, but wasn't able to really get the round that I felt like I was throwing the disc well enough. I just wasn't able to really connect and shoot that really good round that I needed to. I missed the cut by 2, and I was dead on going into the round. I was like, I have to shoot 10 under to make the cut. And that's exactly what I needed to shoot. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And we'll talk about that later. And Cupcake. Should I talk about Cupcake now or later?
Later.
Okay. I'll talk about Cupcake later. So stay tuned for the Cupcake talk. And Uli, you played phenomenal this week. So let's hear it. How did your week go, brother?
I mean, it went good. I wasn't so sure how I was going to do on the golf course part. I knew I was going to play good at the Waco spot. Those kind of shots right now are dialed for me. But really, it came down to I'm just finally finding a rhythm on how to score out there. And it's been a long time. Like, I completely forgot how to score because I was always trying to be so aggressive. I felt like I had to get all these birdies in order to compete for the title. So I would push. I think I was throwing too fast a disc all the time. And I put that Punisher in the bag last year, and it's a fast disc, but it flies more like a fairway driver for me. And that disc has literally changed my game. Wow. Like, I can throw dead straight, don't have to worry about it going right and left. And then at Waco, if you can do that, you're going to score. So first round, I shot a solid round. I was out of bounds by like combined this far on 17. I was on the line.
First shot?
First shot was, on the line, out of bounds. And then I hit in, you know how they kind of spike and then bounce out. And I did that type thing. But I made like a 40-footer for bogey.
I think I saw that on coverage because they had that 17 camera on there.
Mm-hmm. And, ended up shooting a 7 first round, which was solid. I mean, if I birdie that one though, 9 downs, only a couple back of the lead.
Yep.
The second round was kind of wacky. It was like I wasn't playing that good, and it got windy. We had to stop for a while, and we came back, and it was super windy, and I missed probably an 18-footer on 17 for birdie, which would have been like the difference between a good round and a bad round again. You know. It was just a par, but for some reason, 5 under is better than 4 under out there.
For some reason.
You know how that works?
Yeah.
But like big time, you know, you're like 4 under or whatever, 5 under is like feels so different.
I mean, I think we ended up, when we're looking at it, we ended up having like 8 guys tied at 13 under, and then there was like 3 guys at 14 under, and then there was like another 8 at 15 under. So yeah, you're right. One stroke sometimes out there in those certain spots, you can jump like 9 spots, 8 spots on the leaderboard. You
can jump an hour in your tee time.
Yeah.
Which is important sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then third round came around. That was my best round, man. I was dialed all the way around. I thought coming down the stretch, I could have been a little more aggressive. Hindsight, now that the tournament's over. Like, I kind of threw like a wussy little putt on 17 from like 40 feet because I knew I was playing good. I didn't want to roll in the water. And then 18, I laid up instead of going over. And
the wind was good on the first day. The first day was tough. I saw so many people struggle the first day because it was a headwind, but we had a little bit of the wind switched and we had tailwind on round 3. So mostly everyone was going for it. And a lot of the OBs, it was still tough though. In any sort of high wind, whether it's tailwind or headwind, it's still hard because the tailwind, if you throw it too low, you skip OB long, and now you have that like 45 footer. And we saw some people like Kevin Jones, if you guys were watching the coverage, he was right on the cut line, or actually he was a couple strokes ahead of the cut line, went OB long, And I think he looked at the scores and was like, I think I need to make this putt, and went for the putt, missed it, air ball, OB again, and then putt in. So like going long OB scary. And then, we saw some people, it's like, all right, I need to take some off of this. And then you never cross in bounds over there. And then you're re-teeing, which is a really hard shot.
Yeah, so Brad,
I don't think that's a bad play for a layup there. I don't hate that, especially if you have a good round going.
So I asked Brad what I was at on 17. He said you're at 12, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I like wussied my putt on 17, being like, I can cruise in with a little course record here, no problem. Laid up on 18, and then I shot an 11, and I'm like, I was kind of glad he didn't tell me I was actually at 11 and that I was at 12, because I would have for sure went over to try to get the course record. Yeah. But I didn't. And that was my best round of the season. And actually my best round on tour in a couple seasons besides the majors, which was good. It was 11 under and jumped me to like 10th place. Final round, took an early double bogey. Silly mistake.
What hole?
2.
Ooh,
some guys
did you not make it over?
Yeah, I'm right in my backswing. This guy goes like this. He's filming with an empty water bottle, bro. And I look back, and he's like this, and he's like, and he crinkles it some more, dude. But the loudest crinkle ever. I freaking throw it like, 20 short or whatever. Don't get up and down. Get a double bogey. Battle my way back, and then this is where it went bad, man. Hole 11. I throw like a little sidearm turnover. I throw it. I follow through, miss the edge of the tee pad, and just wreck.
Oh, I did hear about that you jacked up yourself.
Dude, I twisted my ankle super bad. It popped. I twisted my leg. I hit my shoulder on the ground. And it was such a gnarly fall. I was asking if anybody got it because it was so funny. We had like 100 people watching.
No,
it would have
been
a good watch. But here's what's crazy is I was asking because it was such a gnarly fall. Nobody knew where my disc went. Like everybody would just watch me fall and we're like, oh, he's dead. And so I'm like, I get up, I'm like walking, I go down there, I'm walking towards the target and we can't find my disc. And it was like way back.
Oh, no.
Nobody knew where it went.
Oh, no.
And so it was hard for me to plant it wasn't that bad, honestly. It was just kind of scary because if you tweak it again or something, make it worse. And I kind of
cautious. You weren't playing free anymore at that point. You were thinking about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I, let's say, pardon the pun, like kind of limped my way to the finish line and shot 4 under, which was solid.
The ending stretch there is tough though, Uli. The ending stretch, 16, 17, 18. Those are tough holes to birdie coming in. So it's definitely, that course is definitely like get out early, get out hot, and then stay it in that midsection, and then just try to protect whatever you have coming in. Because if you can birdie 17, that's great. Taking a par on 16 and 18, it's not bad. But you finished top 20.
Yeah, tied 18th, which was, I can't complain about it, man. I'm gaining momentum. Dude, my putt right now is unbelievable.
I saw you putting really well. Yeah.
My putt, the chess.com, and this one I've missed like a total of 4 in the circle or something.
Wow.
Is it? And I'm making more circle 2 putts, which was the goal for this season. So
you have to.
That's the Band-Aid that holds, your game together. Cause I'm not going to find any distance at this age. Like I'm not just all of a sudden going to be like, oh, I'm an accurate 550 guy. So I can't afford to miss any circle putts. I have to be 100% nearly all the time. And so to be able to kind of focus on that and know that and be able to do it has been a big time confidence booster.
And I think too, you're not always going to be on throwing wise. And with a lot of the holes we play and courses we play, even if you are feeling confident, you're going to get bad kicks. You're going to get, hey, I thought that was going to skip and it hit a root and it got nothing. You're going to get it just skipped off of this hard pan with all this tall grass around. And now you're going to get, even if you're throwing well, you're going to get a lot of putts inside of 40 feet. And so if your putter is fire, and that's something that you can consistently have, you're going to score well, because just throwing well off the tee doesn't necessarily mean you're always just going to be having tap-ins.
No.
So your
Yeah,
putt, your putt's a big one.
it's a different game for sure, but I told this to myself like at the end of last season. If there was something I can improve, it was pretty simple. It's making circle 2 putts. If you can improve that, you're going to get bonus putts. You're going to be able to mess up and clean it up. And you know, I keep saying my age, but I'm getting up there. I can still be the best putter in the world. That's not out of my reach. And if you can do that, you can be pretty scary out there, especially down the stretch. If you get in contention, we watched it this weekend. That putter is a great equalizer, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. We're going to have him come on here in about 9 minutes or so. Very excited. Yeah, we have Gannon Buhr joining us tonight, as well as Luke Humphries. So we're going to get into all of what went down at MPO. I do want to talk about a little bit, because obviously I want to leave FPO until probably after the interviews, because I have a lot to say about what I saw, because I watched a lot of FPO. I was actually back in Dallas on Sunday. I drove back up, kind of knowing I was going to miss the cut on Saturday, and was able to watch a lot of coverage the final day. And so I've got a lot of takes that I want to get off. But the first thing, maybe we have time here, to go about it. Let's talk about Ricky Wysocki's 2-stroke penalty that ended up going down. I think, Silas, if we can play his video just so everyone, if they weren't able to catch it or weren't able to see it, he posted a video, I believe, on Twitter and maybe even on his Instagram where he kind of explained it. So if we're able to play that, Silas, here we go.
All right, guys. So I wanted to clarify my 2-stroke penalty from yesterday. And so basically what happened was I walked up from the practice field to hole 1, and I showed up to the check-in area with 4 minutes, 30 seconds till my tee time. And the new rule states you got to be there at least 5 minutes before your tee time to check in. Otherwise, there's a 2-stroke penalty. And I wasn't. And so a player in my group decided to notify the TD. And then the TD has no choice but to stroke me. And that's how I started my day. And unfortunately, that is what it is. And that's the rule. I don't like it. And it's not a good rule, but that is what it is. And got to move on and shred today.
All right, so a couple of things to unpack here. First, Ricky Wysocki is now the second known player, at least notable player, Kevin Jones being the first who got a 2-stroke penalty at the chess.com Invitational. First thing is, when I heard that, he said a player on his card notified the TD. And there was obviously a witch hunt on social media. Who was the player? Who was the rat? Who was the snitch, right? I talked to the TD that was at WACO, and I asked him, I said, is it on the players? Is it on us to notify you guys that someone is not here within 5 minutes of their tee time? Or is that on you guys? And then he told me it's on the TD, which I think it should be. I think the TD should be the one enforcing the rule. I think the TD should be the ones paying attention of what time it is and who's in the area. And so I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I don't know, but the TD at WACO told me during round 3 that it's the TD's responsibility to inform the player that they are not there within enough time and they are going to be receiving a 2-stroke penalty. Now, to what else he said he doesn't like the rule. I agree to a point. I don't love the rule of 5 minutes. Now being the second tournament of doing it, 5 minutes, guys, is a really long time. There's really not that much for us to have to do when we get to the tee pad. And honestly, there should be even less. We need to do away with these TDs and starters or whoever it is having this monologue before we start our round of all these changes and all these things. That should all be taken care of well in advance. We should literally just have, in my opinion, 2 minutes is a perfect time window for everyone to get there and everyone get their figure out what the code is to get into PGA Live or get the scorecard for if you're going to do paper and pencil, to figure out what the order of the teeing is. Some TDs come or some of the starters come up and ask you like, Uli, who do you want me to say as your sponsor? Which I think a lot of people appreciate. I think 2 minutes is plenty of time, but the thing is, Uli, the rule is 5. We all know the rule is 5. And to me, it's like, if you don't show up before 5 minutes, you should get a 2-stroke penalty. And that's exactly what happened.
I agree. I think it's a terrible rule. I think we went on when we first talked about this rule. I told you that there's going to be a lot of people who get stroked, and it's a horrible rule.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand by that because it's still terrible. 5 minutes is forever. And they
Very
do it,
long.
like I said, they do it so that the TD can tell you that Kevin Jones is going to be doing his little
DJ session after the thing.
DJ session.
You got a putting league later this week. Make sure you come out to the
And not that it doesn't happen every time. A lot of times it's brass tacks to the rules. What's going on with the course? We spray painted some extra lines. Those are nice things to know. But here's my point. As a player, this is what happened when the first people got stroked. An email went out the night before that said, "Hey, we're cracking down. You're going to get stroked."
Yes, I like that.
And no. This is my point, Brodie. By sending this email beforehand, they're notifying you that they're going to be stroking you.
Okay.
They can send an email telling you about what's going on the course.
I see what you're saying. Yes, they can remove all that time that they need to tell. Yes, I agree with that.
With one email, they started, and they did. They stroked everybody who got there. They stroked 3 people that first tournament. 2 on the same card.
Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yes. And they sent an email saying it, which means they can send an email saying, "Hey, this hole's changed. We got a lot of rain. We fixed this hole, blah, 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 blah."
Yep.
You need to be, if they can do that to stroke you for showing up late, they can do that. And then if you play the hole wrong, it's your fault.
And then also, Uli, they can literally say, instead of 2 minutes of saying everything, they say, "Hey, make sure if you didn't check your email, we have an email sent to you." Just say that.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yeah. Check your email because there's an email with all new notifications or updates on the course. And it's like, "Oh, I didn't check my email last night. Oh, there it is. Done."
Right.
Now, I'm a little worried though, Uli, because there was a tweet. Someone said someone responded to his video saying, "Weird rule. If you're ready to throw at your tee time, that should be good enough." Ricky said, "Agreed. I was there 4 minutes before my tee time, but still deemed late based on the new rule." And quotes late. So if Ricky's saying like it's a bad rule because 5 minutes is too long, then that's fine. But if he's like trying to make a claim that he shouldn't have gotten stroked, I have to disagree with him. We all know
he should have. Yeah.
We all know it's 5 minutes. And the thing that I like, Uli, is it would be an absolute, it would suck if they were stroking some people and weren't. And then now that they're doing it, everyone knows if I'm not there 5 minutes, they're not giving any grace period.
It makes me angry that they're doing it and there's no grace period. You know why? Because they give leniency to every other rule on the course.
Yes, agreed. I hate that. Why is this rule the only one they're like, let's do all the rules this?
How about we call people on time? How about we call people on footballs? How about we do all this stuff? Like, you're the TD, crack down on all of it.
Yes.
But this is the one that you decide to crack down on when Ricky Wysocki's 30 seconds late. Here's the thing. You want this kid for your brand of disc golf and the DGPT. You want Ricky Wysocki on the last cards. He's exciting. He brings more viewers. If he's not there because you stroked him 2 times, you think that's good for your brand? It's not, dude. It's silly.
No, I agree with you there. Of like, I don't know why they decided like this was the rule that they were going to be like, "Hey, we are cracking down on, and like we are not going to take any takers here." It's a weird one for them to do that, but maybe this is the start of something to come of where they're like, "Come on, hey, this is what we're going to."
This is the control because they won't get mad. They'll be like, "Dude, you were obvious. We have a clock right here. You obviously wasn't." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But last thing I'm gonna say, I get there 10 minutes. I tell Brad, you tell me 10 minutes before we're supposed to be there. I take 5 minutes to do whatever, and I'm there 10 minutes before my time. 10 minutes, because I have high anxiety of getting stroked now. All these people.
I don't want to start my term at a 2-stroke penalty. Are you kidding me?
No. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, but it's a rule. I play by the rules. I'm a big time rules advocate, and that it is what it is. But do I think it's silly? Absolutely. And do I think it's funny that they're cracking down on this one out of all the rules that we have? Yeah, I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens in Austin this week. But all right, we actually now have Gannon Buhr with us, 4-time Disc Golf Pro Tour winner and your 2022 USDGC champ. Gannon Buhr now joins Tour Life. Gannon, welcome back, brother. I feel like it was not that long ago that we were talking with you.
Yeah, not long at all.
I guess first initial thoughts after an incredible tournament and really honestly, like one of the more exciting finishes that I can remember. How are you feeling?
Well, that last round was very stressful for me, obviously. But now that it's over with, it kind of gives me almost a clear head for the rest of this like kind of first half of the season. I think every year, honestly, I'm going for, if I can get anywhere from 2 to 4 Pro Tour wins, I'm pretty happy. So having won through 2 events already is amazing. And that way, if I don't win any of the next 5 events, it's okay because I got this one. But I think it'll help me be a little more relaxed and knowing I already got the job done. It's already, one box checked off already. So I think I'll be able to play a little more relaxed and confident moving forward.
Did you find that by them adding a new course this year, it made it to where maybe in the past people have kind of looked and, they've said wacky WACO of where we see some guys pop off. We've seen winners like Colt Montgomery the one year where it was only 2 rounds instead of 3. We've seen Nate Perkins almost win this event multiple times. Big Germ's another name that gets close to winning his event. These are names that we aren't really necessarily seeing in the top 10 week after week. Do you think them adding Lake Waco, do you think that helped kind of make it to where it wasn't as crazy of seeing some of these names jump up the leaderboards?
Germs won it twice, not almost. Just
oh yeah, you're right. He did win it twice. Sorry. Perkins was the one that almost won it twice.
Yeah. I always enjoy having 2 courses. I think it's more fun. It's definitely more of a challenge. Obviously, the Beast has more woods than the Lake course did. But yeah, the Lake course offered a little more of a open variety, kind of more of a placement golf, which I really enjoy, and I feel like I perform well in the past at. Is when a course gives you a lot of room to throw, but you still got to pick your correct landing zones and your shot shaping abilities and stuff like that. It worked out really well. I mean, I can already think, a couple holes just on the front 9 of Lake Waco really suit my throwing style. With I think 6, 7, 8 were all flex lines out of the hand with drivers that I kind of just yank them over and then they get that nice fade back. And I bullseyed 3 in a row in that final round to I think put me 6 down through 8 holes. So I mean, I think that course played really well in my game, and then it was really the first time I was able to play solid at the Beast. It was really my first breakout performance in 2021, but I think I got 11th in 2021, which is my best finish ever at Waco before this. Other than that, it's always been kind of a rough tournament for me. I've got 24th and 25th. So definitely kind of below what I'm looking for. But then this year, I was able to play solid at the Beast. Mainly, I just started off hot, I feel like, in the front 9s. Which just makes it way easier to get a couple more birdies in the back 9 and just to put together a 9 down to 11 down round.
Yeah, the Beast is such an interesting course because you can almost play identical from one day to the next, but you're off just a little bit on a couple shots, a couple holes, and it turns birdies and pars into bogeys and doubles. There's a couple holes where you're like, man, if I get a bad kick here, this could turn into a disaster number. So it does play a little interesting there. I do want to run through some of these stats though. We now have, stats provided by Stats Mando, who is now, I guess, owned by the Disc Golf Pro Tour, or I guess owned by the PDGA. I'm not sure exactly which one. But PDGA. Here's some stats for you. You were number 1 in total putts made, over 1,400 feet of total putts made. You were first in the average putt make. Almost 20 feet was your average putt distance. You were first in strokes gained putting at 9.3. You were first in strokes gained from Circle 2 at 5.2. You were seventh in strokes gained from C1X at 4.10. And you went 42 of 47 for 89% from C1X and 11 of 25 from 44% from C2. Playing these courses and some of these holes, and honestly, Lake Waco, there's a couple holes, right? Hole 6, hole 7, hole 16. There's a handful of holes where it's like your best shot is landing 40 feet from the basket. Do you think your putting really had like a huge impact on your finish just by how hard it was to get to the basket on a lot of these holes off the tee?
Well, I ended up making 5 Circle 2 putts in the third round through 12 holes, I believe. So I think part of it was a little bit of a momentum thing. And part of it was...
That's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. It's like every other hole just making a Circle 2 putt like nothing.
Yeah. And then part of it was I was also just getting more under par. That third round, I started off 8 under on the front 9. My card was kind of disgusting that round. We went 42 under as a card, which is just insane. We had 2 11s and 2 10s with me, Greg, Nate, and Mason Ford.
Mason.
Wow. Yeah. So very, very, just good time all around. But I think I kept landing just like a little bit outside the circle, and I putted really, really bad at Memorial. Obviously, and chess.com I did not putt good at. Kind of, like I said, just getting used to the new putters, which I'm putting with the link right now. And I definitely worked on my, I wouldn't say I did too many practice putts, but I more worked on trying to find a stroke that felt comfortable. And once I found it, it actually made putting really easy. I remember the first day of practice, I was like, hey, I'm actually kind of putting good now. And I had this little step putt I was doing, step through, I guess. I'd putt and then step with my left foot on just outside circle putts, or like anything from like, obviously, anything Circle 2 pretty much. Unless it was a death putt, I want to take some pace off, then I just do my normal putt and kind of loft it up there. But yeah, the momentum was there. I don't know, I feel like once I get into position where I'm near the top of the tournament, I do pretty good about keeping it there or even closing out. And so once I could kind of like see the door getting cracked open, even in the third round, just seeing my name at the top and kind of being in control of the tournament from then on, it just gives me more confidence to get more birdies and make more putts. But the putting definitely saved me. If I would have missed those putts, I probably would have shot a mediocre round, maybe thrown a couple even worse drives. But yeah, I saved par a couple times with some deep Circle 2 putts, and that's always a big momentum booster because you're not dropping strokes on the tour.
I made a joke on Jomez. I said if he got better at driving off the tee, his scores would not change.
yeah. That is probably accurate.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. If you're making 5 from Circle 2 and you just park them, like you're still shooting.
Yep.
10 under, 11
Nothing
under.
really changes too much.
Obviously, that's not true, but.
Let's talk about this excessive time violation that was called. This is not something that we often see. And you guys had, being lead card, you guys had a marshal with you that I guess was paying attention to pace of play. Now, was that just your first warning? Had he mentioned anything to you prior? Because this, I believe, was your third shot on hole 10, the par 5.
Yeah, second shot.
Second shot.
Yeah. No, nothing was mentioned to me beforehand. I wasn't even notified I was playing slow. I don't think I was at all. What killed me is I went to my disc, looked at my shot, went to talk to my caddy for like 20 seconds to figure out what disc to throw. And that whole time my clock is running, even though I'm not even by my disc or really, deciding what I want to throw. And then after I threw the shot, which I think by the time I guess I grabbed my disc and thrown the shot, it was around like 20, 25 seconds. But I'd already gone over because of the talking to the caddy part, which I'm not a huge fan of. And I tried to talk to him about, there's also a clip of me trying to discuss with him, like, when does my time start?
Yep.
And stuff like that. I never got a good answer. I've heard many different
he
answers.
didn't say, okay, that's kind of crazy because I feel like it's pretty simple. Like your time starts when it's when it's basically made apparent that you're the next one to throw and you have had adequate time to address your lie.
Yeah.
Whether you've addressed your lie or not, as long as like if you're like slow, moonwalking to your disc, right, to take way more time than you should, I feel like that should count. But that feels like that shouldn't be necessarily a gray area. But they didn't give you a straight answer there.
No, and I've gotten so many. Obviously, I've had problems with being slow in the past. That round, I don't even think I was slow at all, and no one on my card really did either. I asked him like, okay, so when does my time start? He's like, once you mark your disc. I'm like, okay, what if I don't mark my disc? He's like, no, when you approach your lie. Okay, what if I'm 5 feet to the right of my lie? Okay, well, it's still your turn. I'm like, oh, okay, so what is it? And then I've heard when you grab your disc out of your bag, that's when your time starts. I've heard so many different things. Like the funniest part too.
Keep going, yeah.
I was just say the funny part too is, and not to pick on Nate Sexton, but the shot right after my time violation, Terry Miller's reading off the rule of time violation, and Nate took 45 seconds on his next shot, and nothing was called. And so it just is like a little frustrating on why, in my opinion, I understand it's a rule, but if that's what the rule is and they're so serious about it, you need to call it for everybody, obviously. But there shouldn't even be a little bit of leeway. It's like, hey, that's 30 seconds. Like maybe, you had a couple like close calls, or maybe you did go over it a couple times, but the person just never told you. Well, like that's wrong. No, if you broke 30 seconds one time, then you technically broke the rule. Like there should be no like, oh, we'll give you a couple times. That doesn't says nowhere in the rule. So I
foresee this rule changing. I foresee, because the way to progress, I don't want to see a Gannon Buhr stressed out. Like let's say you have a super big shot coming up. I don't want to see you stressed out and have to just grab something and chuck it without thinking about it. There are certain instances, for example, walking up to a 15-foot putt. If you're walking up to a 15-foot putt and you take 45 seconds, that's a problem. But if you're in an area and you have a decision to make, should I go for it over in 2 or should I lay up? And there's stuff going on, that to me as a viewer, I'm interested. I'm invested. I want to hear what you're saying to the caddy.
It's a big shot,
I don't want to see you take 45 seconds at a 15-foot putt. Those two things are very different. And that's why I think the rule will eventually change to where it's a pace of play as a group. And as long as you're keeping up and playing quickly as a group, that's fine, because I could take 5 seconds on a lot of my shots, and then I can take a minute on a very, very tough, tricky shot where I'm trying to figure out how to scramble. Yeah. And I can play faster than someone that's taking 30 seconds every single time.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is like I'm actually very, very quick getting to my disc for my next shot. And it almost makes me look worse, because if you take my total time from tee pad to my next shot, including the time it takes me to throw that next shot, it's actually fairly quick in total, because I got to my disc really quick. So my pace of play, which is apparently the issue, was fine. And if you're on the lead card, now that I'm trying to defend it,
it's slower. It's slower. They got to wait for all the fans get at, you're constantly waiting.
There's no one behind us either. There's no one we're backing up. Now we're playing for a lot more money. The titles are bigger. These shots mean a lot. And I don't personally think I'm abusing the rule at all. I don't go up to a 15-footer and take 45 seconds. I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable player when it comes to putting, honestly, now.
You've gotten a lot faster. That is for sure.
20-second range. I played with Uli a couple times. I'm sure he can defend me a little bit here. But go ahead.
I think the problem is you are getting targeted. You're getting targeted by the officials, of course, because of your reputation for taking a long time in the past. And that's something that's only going to go away with years and years and years of playing and being a quick player, which you've already gotten past it. And we're all talking about how fast you are at this point in time. So you're getting to that point. I do think that this is also an unwritten rule in disc golf that we're talking about, because not all the time we have officials on your card that are going to call you on this stuff. But like for myself, for example, I take over the time limit from time to time. I do. Do I ever get called on it? No. But I'm not known for being a slow putter.
Yeah.
And it's just and if Brodie's on my card and he's taking a long time on a shot, I'm never going to call it. And does that mean that I'm like a rules guy or not a rules guy? No. But so people like online, when you have the keyboard warriors of them being like, no, you have to call it all the time. No, you don't. That's not true in any way. But if they are going to crack down like on the lead card situations of you doing this, then they do need to call it all the time.
Yes.
Because you aren't holding up the tournament and they're holding you accountable for something that pace of play is the whole reason that they need to do this, right?
Yeah. And then like the other thing that kind of like almost ties into that too is, you know, there's been those situations, let's just say, where a shot, you don't know if it crossed in bounds or not, but they don't let you use video evidence. And their excuse for that is because they don't have cameras on whatever, the fourth, fifth, sixth cards. Why would that not apply to the 30-second rule as well? Because
there's not a marshal on every card.
Yeah, there's not a marshal on every card, but I was called by a marshal, not a player. And so why would that not apply to the same rule? It's just
I don't like
frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't like the idea. Like, here's the thing. I'm gonna say it like it is. I think sometimes these people just want to be in the action. They want to be on coverage. They want to put themselves in here. What a marshal should do is not follow the lead card. What a marshal should do is monitor the entire tournament. The tournament is not just the lead card. It's the entire thing. And so the fact that they don't do that, that is a big, huge misstep. And I'm just going to call out the marshals and say, maybe it is they want to be on coverage. Maybe it is they want to be there and they want to insert themselves into a situation where they're not inserting themselves into a situation on hole 4 when it's the third card out or the fifth card out. They're inserting themselves in when the coverage is there. They're on cameras. Not a fan. But I do want to move on, Gannon, because we have Luke coming in at the top of the hour, and I still have a lot more questions I want to ask you.
Yes.
A lot of people brought this up, and I'm curious. Watching coverage on hole 18, I was a little shocked with how many people were like, "What the heck? He shouldn't be allowed to do that." What are your thoughts on being able to use your phone as, you know, and again, this was like a weird one because you just, I've played with you. I know you're the first person to like throw a shot and be like, is that 10 feet? Is that 15 feet? Is like, you want to know how far it is. And that's all you were doing. There wasn't really an advantage of you knowing if you're 20 feet or 30 feet away. What you were going to do was not, it wasn't going to change. But what are your thoughts on being able to use your phone to watch coverage or whatnot? Is that big, not such a big deal? People are just blowing it out of proportion.
I didn't even know people were talking about it because
I got a lot of tweets.
Be anything wrong with it? Like, I mean, I don't know. I definitely
video evidence, dude. You're not allowed to use that.
Oh no, you got me. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I mean, I don't see how it could possibly be bad. I don't know. I just want to. I don't know. It was only because it was a blind shot. Like,
yeah.
If it's
curious.
I'm not looking at my phone if it's a wide open hole and I see where I land. It's
what are you, like a Gen Z? What are you technically?
I don't even know.
You need stuff instantaneous, right? Like you can't wait. Patience is a tough thing for you. You want to know right now where you at. So I will say it is like it doesn't look great, but neither does hacky sack or playing tic-tac-toe in the dirt. There's tons of things in disc golf that don't look great. And until they change the rule of where we can't use our phones or we can't wear headphones while we play, people can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I think I just I was just anxious, you know, the whole situation. I just want to be like mentally prepared to know what I had coming up.
I think it's smart.
Yeah.
I think it's very smart.
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. Go ahead.
Because there's a big difference between being like, okay, I think I'm 20 feet. That seemed pretty good, and getting up there and you're 42 feet.
Yeah, it's a confidence destroyer.
Yeah, or being like, okay, I'm at 40 feet, and then you got 30 footer. There's a big time difference there. If you can visualize that whole time walking up for a winning putt, you've taken a lot of the stress already out of it when you step up there. So.
I definitely tell all my caddies, like, do not say anything about a shot. Don't say that it's inbounds. Don't say that you're parked. Don't do anything, because the worst thing ever is like, oh, dude, you're parked, and then you get up there and it's like 24 feet.
Yeah,
and you're like,
it puts that thought in your head of like,
Yeah.
you already made it, and then you have to think, and you're like, well, my caddy said I deserve the birdie basically, and now I got to work for it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the spit out here. So this happened kind of in the middle of the round, I want to say, final round.
11.
Yeah, hole 11. What do you have to say to all the people that are saying you're putting too hard?
I don't think it was too hard at all. It wasn't that hard of a putt. It wasn't even like on the pole. I mean, it was like the right side of the pole. It wasn't even like on like the dead center of the pole.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like coming down into the basket. I think it just like once it hit the chains, and then obviously the chains get like kind of sucked up from the bottom. It like just like caught one of the chains and then flipped it out. It was just, I mean, unfortunate. I mean, I've seen worse spit outs with a lot less pace. I mean, we've seen Isaac putt on baskets like that at 2 miles an hour, and the same thing happens. Like, honestly, I thought that was a pretty fair putt. I didn't jam it that hard. It wasn't really windy, so I didn't putt it that hard. It was a firm putt, but I don't think it was anything crazy.
Do you think that you have more spit outs than anybody?
Ooh, that's a good question.
No, because I don't putt on a lot of hyzer. I feel like a lot of people that putt on like a lot of hyzer can spit. I see a lot of spit throughs.
How many putts do you think?
Gossage has a spit out every single round I play with him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like literally every round I play with him, Gossage has a spit out.
Do you think you have a spit out a round or a spit out a tournament?
I'd say like it depends on the baskets, but if it's a solid basket, I mean, one spit out a tournament.
A lot of spit outs. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that people need to realize. I think your putt has too much pace for spit outs. I think you have a great pace to be able to make putts from everywhere. I think you're the best putter in the world, in my opinion.
I mean, his stats showed it. He putted better than anyone this week. So I feel like it's
by 5 or something.
I feel like you don't change it, right?
No. But my point is also that people have to realize is you're making more putts than anybody. You're going to have more chances for spit outs as well.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
You have more opportunities for spit outs.
You're not airballing as much as all of us are. Or hitting the basket.
Yeah. I've been like too tentative in the past of like people saying I putt too hard and stuff like that. And then when I try to putt softer, I don't even hit the chains. So like I don't even get a chance to even have a spit out or stay in the basket. So in my mind, I'm just like, hey, I know a spit out's a risk. I know it's going to happen. Obviously, I threw my hands up. It's still unfortunate. Like that a spit out happens. It's never like super deserving, but I do have a higher risk, and it doesn't help. My putters are really stiff. That can also, none of the energy gets lost when it hits something like that. It kind of just shoots it back.
That looked like it literally hit a brick wall when I watched it. It looked like
Did it affect your putt on the next hole? Because you missed completely left and almost airballed it. Were you thinking like, I got to put this in a little softer, or was just the confidence gone in general? Because there is something to having momentum, making a birdie and being 40 feet and be like, all right, this is easy.
It was just like a really bad stretch for me because I threw a really good drive on hole 9 after I was already in control of the tournament, being 6 through 8. And I had tied for the lead going into the round, so I was feeling amazing. And I had like 180. No, I was not sure. I had like 200 into the green on hole 9, which is like just outside my jump putt range. There was a little bit of wind, so I didn't want to do it. If it was like 180, I probably would have. But there's that little OB creek I just was kind of scared about. And I just seen Luke go forehand, so I tried going forehand. And Sexton did it as well. And I just got like a dud skip on the hill. So, and then I missed my circle 2 putt there, just a couple inches low. Obviously, then got the time warning on hole 10, then got the dead center spit on 11, then threw it OB on 12, then hit the first tree on 13. So I had a bad stretch there. I think it definitely a little bit affected it, just because there's that pressure of like, oh crap, I have to make this putt to just stay one back even, because Nicklaus is on the course just shredding. Yeah. And then obviously Luke is slowly coming up. I think he went like 5 down where I went even in that stretch. Mm-hmm. So just like snap of a finger it's all tied up basically again. I'm even down. That putt was a little tentative. It also was a death putt too. If I airball it or something, or get a bad reaction off the top or the cage or something like that. So that was a little scary. But yeah, after that hole, I felt like my whole world fell apart.
Let's talk. Oh, go ahead, Uli. Go.
Oh, I was going to skip ahead a little bit, but if you have something in the middle.
I have something for Niklas. I want to know his thoughts about Niklas.
Okay, yeah.
You may do that first.
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about that.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that in a second. Or after you're gone, we're going to talk about backwards.
Okay.
No, I want to know your thoughts on his play on hole 17. So he definitely looked like he was a little bit fearful of and we've seen people take massive numbers on that hole. If you never cross in bounds, you throw it over the water. Everyone's throwing it over the water. Never cross in bounds. It's pretty much an automatic re-tee because you only would advance a couple feet up and then you have a much worse kind of run up. So everyone was re-teeing. It looked like he was pretty cautious about that and just kind of early released it out to the left. And he was left with like about a 40-footer on a putt that, he's playing really, really well. He was putting really, really well. What are your thoughts on him laying up there?
I mean, it's almost a lose-lose scenario unless you make the putt, because you can lay it up and I don't know. And then if you don't win, maybe you lose by a stroke. You're like, dang, why did I not run it? You could run the putt, then you roll OB and you're like, dang, I should have laid it up. Or you could run the putt, you make it, and then you're happy you got that stroke back. I personally think he should have ran the putt with how good he was playing and there was no wind. That's just like a putt that, if you want to win championships, you got to make that kind of a putt.
Are you running that putt if he was in your spot and you're now here and you've got Niklas kind of, I think at that point you guys are maybe 2 or 3 holes behind them. So you still had a lot of holes left.
I mean, honestly, it depends on how I'm playing. It depends on the conditions. Like, I mean, it was super calm that day. I think it's one of those putts where I kind of tell my caddy, I'll lay it up if I feel like it, but if I really think I can make this putt, I'm going to run it. And to him, he didn't even think about it. If I was in his shoes, I would have taken some time to think about it because he's good enough to where he can make that putt, I think 50% of the time.
Were you shocked that he laid that up?
I was with how good he was playing, but at the same time, when you think about the closing holes, like the lead card would have he had a big lead, and they would have had to go on a shredder. And I was more surprised about the whole 18 play. If you lay that putt up, you got to get hyper aggressive on 18 and try to birdie that thing. Because if you go up the middle, you can get a lot more distance up there, which is what I would have done. I would have tried to go for the flex gap up the middle or a roller or something to get myself way up there to try to get birdie. And he went with the hyzer play, which leaves him 500 in, even if he throws a really good one. So that's where I'm at with it. I think he should have got more aggressive on 18 because even if you hit those trees, you can pitch up, take par, get out of there. But instead, he left himself with like probably 480 into the pin on 18.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he was kind of banking on you not being able to finish birdie.
Yeah.
And, those are 17, 18 are not, auto birdies. Probably not for you either. Did you birdie either one of those on the first round out there at Lake Waco?
No, it was also like pitch black and super windy.
Yeah.
We were the third card, so chase card was the last card to finish. So it was pretty dark when we played it, and we had like a 20, 25 mile per hour gusts left to right wind, and I had like a 25 footer, and I hit off the band. It was so windy. It was a straight headwind. I putted it, hit the band, almost came back to me. Just flew full flight back to me, and then 18. I remember like I threw my shot, and then I was like barely even off the tee pad, and Corey Ellis just rips his shot. We just wanted to get off the course, and then I almost did birdie it. I threw a big hyzer on the second shot during that second round, and actually got stuck by the tree that's like 50 short of the basket.
Yeah,
and it hit the tree, so it was coming in like it probably would hit pretty close to the basket and skipped a little bit long, but hit the tree, so it didn't skip.
That was the one that you were yelling, get over on your final shot.
Yeah, but that was round 2 is what I'm talking about. But
yeah, I'm saying the final round, you were yelling, "Get over it, get over it."
I was in a very similar position to that, and I mean, it was dark outside. That's like we kind of just chucked it up there. I was like, "Get my par, get out."
Yeah.
Whatever, no big deal. If I get a birdie, cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sweet.
All right, so let's
ahead,
move
Uli.
to hole 16. You miss your long putt. Luke makes it. Momentum's on his side now. And then he just absolutely bases 17. You get that unfortunate, maybe fortunate roll. At that point in time, did you think that you had lost the tournament?
I actually turned around and like did that, and I started walking back to my bag because I saw it get up and roll. I'm like, that's OB.
And then walking up to your putt, and he's still parked, so he's going to have a 1-stroke lead anyway.
Yeah.
Were you pretty confident you were going to make it, or was it like, I guess I got to just rip this at it and hope for the best? Or
I don't know. In my mind, like, obviously there's those doubts, but it's also like I'm giving this putt right now, like it's almost just poetic. I have to make it, and I put it dead center, perfect pace, and I knew that would. I knew. And that putt's huge for multiple reasons because it makes him have to think on 18 a little bit more. If he's up 2 on me on 18, he can like for sure just play for par. And then, Nicholas is in the clubhouse and he can't get any more under par. He's, it's not like he has another hole to play like I would. And so I mean, everything I think just worked out perfectly in my favor. I mean, it's never over till it's over. I kept telling myself that after 13, I was like, you got to get most of these birdies, if not all of them. And then I got that break with Nicholas throwing an OB on 17. And my caddy was like, Nicholas is going to bogey. I'm like, okay, we're still in it. So it's going to be pretty tight, actually, because I kind of counted on birdieing 17. I felt like it's a pretty easy tee shot. It's wide open, 375, no wind. We should be executing that most of the time.
All right, we'll finish it off here with a fan of yours. I'm assuming it's a mega fan because they're calling you the GOAT. Gannon Buhr winning the WACO tournament. I think it's great that after leaving Prodigy, you won the tournament sponsored by them. How did it feel facing off against your old teammate now that you're on a new team?
Well, it's definitely interesting. Luke hasn't been in that position too much, so it's a little bit. It's definitely scary because when you see him play so good and hit that putt on 16, and I'm really good friends with Luke, so it was just like it was a fun round. We talked the round. It was a great battle. And then, obviously winning with my new Discmania bag, it was just so awesome. And it kind of, proves to everyone, proves to myself that I can win with these discs already. And we're only 2 tournaments in. And I mean, really the only reason I didn't win chess.com was because I didn't putt good. Throwing was really good there. It was just such a great battle. It's right up there with USDGC in terms of my favorite wins, just because the way I won it. I guess it is also my second biggest win, being an Elite Plus win. Mm-hmm. So that's huge for me.
Sweet. All right. Well, Gannon, thank you so much for joining Tour Life. You're always welcome. Your 2024 WACO champion, Gannon Buhr. We'll see you down in Austin, brother.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Later. Have a good night.
Peace.
All right. There you have it. Gannon Buhr. Wow. Always fun to talk to him. Always interesting to kind of hear what he has to think about with all that. So that was awesome. All right. We won't leave the man waiting. We were just talking about him coming up ever so slightly close. We've got Luke Humphries joining us for the first time, I believe, on Tour Life. Luke, thanks for coming on, brother.
Oh
boy. Silas? We almost made it a full episode with no problems on the interviews. Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll hopefully get Luke in here in a second. Not entirely sure what happened. I heard him for a second and then completely went away.
He'll be on a second.
He went statue mode.
I did want to get Gannon's perspective of Luke's shot.
18, I know. Yeah. We had Luke waiting. I thought 30. I should have not asked maybe one of the questions. That was my fault. All right. I think we might have. Oh
no.
Oh, I thought I saw him there for a second. Thought we might have had him there for a split second. We'll see. He's working on that Airbnb Wi-Fi, which we all know and love, I'm sure.
My Wi-Fi is great.
Yeah, I'm home, so I'm connected in, baby. I'm locked in. I'm landed up.
Is it nice being home?
Yeah, it is, man. It is. I had to do a brand shoot today, and then we filmed a bunch of videos as well. And I'm going to head down tomorrow for our practice round. So we'll film our practice round tomorrow, and that'll probably be up on Thursday, I think. Since the tournament's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is nice. Nice to have a little 3. I heard today was kind of a craziness. I don't know if you were out there practicing today with all the kids out there.
I did. We had to skip a couple of the holes.
Yeah, that was all. See, again, that was all in the email. Everyone, I knew that was going to happen. I saw that in the email. Now, should it happen? That's a different conversation. But no one should have been thrown off of like, why the heck is this going on? That was told well in advance that there was going to be a bunch of kid golfers out there on the golf course. Yeah. While we're trying to play some disc golf. All right, maybe we go. Maybe we do a quick little trophy rating while we wait for Luke. That'd be a nice.
How about we talk about cup?
What cup?
Get that cupcake.
Oh, you think that? Well, I mean, that might be a little bit longer than a trophy rating.
Really? A longer one? A long conversation?
Well, I mean, not like super long, but I trophy rating, like I can talk about the trophy rating.
All right, let's see it.
For 30 seconds or for 3 minutes. We got Luke right here. See, I'm glad I didn't start the cupcake conversation because we got Luke right here. All right, we'll see. Third time's a charm. Let's see here. Luke Humphries joining Tour Life for the first time, potentially, right now.
Can you hear us?
He waved, saying yes, he can hear us. Maybe we can't hear him. Not entirely sure what's going on. All right.
Say something, Luke.
Okay, Stylus, I don't know what's going on.
Trophy rating.
So something's up with his phone, so we're gonna try him and get him on the computer, and we'll see if that works.
Okay, Stylus, throw the trophy photo of Kristin Tattar up here. We'll do some trophy talk while we get Luke in here in a second. Yeah, he just texted me saying I don't know what's going on. Okay, hopefully he can figure it out. All right, here we go. Trophy situation. This week, really, they could have almost thrown anything up and it would have been better than the chessboard for the chess.com Invitational. This is actually like a company, I believe so. This is what was it? Crap. I'm blanking on it. Maybe someone in chat can let me know. But I guess some company made this trophy and has made multiple trophies before. This is like the famous WACO Bridge also. As well. Someone's saying it's the same trophy as last year. It's probably pretty similar. I don't think it's the same one because I don't.
Could be. They just give her the same one every year. They're like, we're not going to keep making you these trophies.
Last year Val won, right? Or was that 2 years ago? Oh no, she won last year and then 2 years ago Val won. Yeah, I don't see multiple names on there, so it looks like it's a new trophy. But you know. Is it the greatest trophy I've ever seen? By no means, but it's a solid trophy. Yeah, it's a solid.
I like that trophy.
That's something that I'd be fine putting on my mantle and having someone walk up. 7.
I'm giving it a 7.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reason why it's the same shape is because I think they're making it after that famous bridge in Waco. There's a pretty popular bridge in Waco, and I believe that is like the start of it, like the entry point of what it looks like. So I mean, it's got a little connection to the tournament in that way, and overall, I think it looks good. So yeah, I'm with you. I would probably go 6.5.
Okay,
but I think we're close.
What's your favorite trophy ever? Like, have you ever seen a 10?
Oh yeah, what? Yeah, I mean, I think Wimbledon's trophy. If we're going outside the sports, Wimbledon.
In disc golf, guy.
Wimbledon's a sick trophy.
Yeah,
the Lombardi trophy is pretty nice too. The Stanley Cup is a pretty good trophy.
Yeah. The British Open, the Open trophy, real nice.
Let's see. Disc golf, favorite trophy in disc golf. That's a good question.
Have you ever seen a 10?
Yeah. There has been some that I thought were really nice.
My favorite trophy I ever got was a Shelley Sharp Memorial, and it was a rattlesnake of I guess, what do you call them when they
coil?
No,
up?
it's like a real rattlesnake.
It was just a rattlesnake by itself?
Yeah,
or was it coiling up something?
It was coiling, but it's a real one. You know what I mean? What do you call it when
live?
It was
like
dead.
Skinned?
Oh,
or taxidermied?
Taxidermied.
Oh, like they taxidermied a freaking rattlesnake, and that was your trophy?
Yeah, it was coiled up all crazy. It's sick looking, man.
A stuffed rattlesnake?
It was nasty, dude. It was Arizona, you know what I mean? And
I did not think that was going to be your pit. It was like a real rattlesnake at one point.
You walk. It's cool because you go into Spinners on the Green. Okay. If you go in there, little kids go into it, and they have a glass trophy box as soon as you walk in. So kids are like this height, and they'll walk in and they'll look to their right, and then that guy's just looking at them. Oh. And they get all scared, which is awesome.
Dang. Yeah.
I guess it's not awesome that they get scared, but it is a cool trophy.
There's been some good trophies. There's been some solid trophies. So, obviously I'm unretired. I've said I've come out of retirement from the trophy rating. So moving forward, we will be rating all the trophies moving forward. I have no idea what's going on right now. Silas, do we have any updates?
Not currently. We still don't have them. We're trying things though. We're trying things.
Let's talk. Let's go Cupcake. We're going to Cupcake. This is something that obviously a lot of people. I got so many tweets about this when the cards got announced. And now Uli's gone.
I'm here. I'm just gonna do something.
Oh, okay. I got tons of tweets when it was shown that I was going to be on the same card as Cupcake. Everyone saying, you better freaking do what you say you're going to do, pace of play person, yada, yada. I have no idea where I even put this thing. Where did I put this thing in my notes? The show notes.
I'm going to grab a water.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So final round, or at least it was my final round. It was the third round of the tournament. Cupcake, we literally talked about him the previous week because of how slow he played at Memorial. It wasn't just me saying it. You had Terry Miller on the broadcast saying it. You had Aaron Gossage, who played with him, saying how slow he played and how he wished he would have. What?
I warned him that. I told you that. I played with him and I warned him.
When did you play
at the Shelley Sharp?
Oh, yeah. Out there.
At the Memorial.
Memorial. Yeah. I thought you said you warned him before, like you were saying you warned him before I played with him. So the first thing I did is I went up to him right before, we have 5 minutes to talk now, which is nice. So before our tea time or before we started, I just went up to him and I was like, hey man, listen, like if you go over today, I'm calling it. I just want to give you a heads up. So it's not like you're, what the heck's going on? I was like, it's nothing against you. I wanted to make it very clear. It's like, it's nothing against you. I just hate slow play. And, it is what it is. And he was like, oh, no. He's like, oh, he's like, no, dude. Like I've gotten really fast now. Like I don't play slow. Like, I don't know if he was saying sarcastically or if like he actually has been working on it. I didn't know really what to take from that. So there we go. We're headed in. I'll say this. The first thing is, it sucks paying attention to how slow someone else is paying. Gossage wasn't doing it. Marweed wasn't doing it. I wasn't going to be the guy that like stood there and was like, I think that's longer than 30 seconds. Like I wanted to make sure that if it was over 30 seconds, it was actually over 30 seconds. I wasn't going to pull my phone out to do the stopwatch. What I did, which I thought was a genius idea, is when the round started, I just set my timer and I just had my like stopwatch running. So every single time he stepped up to a putt, because again, if you've played with Cupcake, it's literally just his putting. He's pretty fast off the tee. He's pretty fast everywhere else. It's literally just putting. So when he would step up to his putt, I would literally look down and I'd be like, all right, my clock's at 7:52. I was like, he has until 7 or 8:22, 30 seconds. And so I would just sit there, and every once in a while I would look and be like, it's 8:12. And I would look, and then boom, he'd putt. It'd be 8:18. He has gotten really good.
Literally going right on time.
Literally any putt, I swear to you, any putt outside of 10 feet, he takes in between 25 and 30 seconds. He anything outside of 10 feet, he is not putting faster than 20 seconds. It was like 26, 28, 29, 25, 27. Like he was in that range pretty much every single putt outside of 10 feet. Hole 11, he took 45 seconds. I called him immediately. Right after he putt, I was like, Cupcake, that was 45 seconds calling you or warning you or whatever the first thing is. And he's like, yep, got it. That's all he said. Because he kind of, it's tough too. Because I mean, like he missed the putt, and so like he's walking up to putt again. And I have to give it, the warning right then, I guess. Yeah. So like, it's not great to do. It didn't make me feel good doing. So after doing it an entire round with someone, I'll go out and say it sucks. I don't ever want to do that again. And so this is why, again, it goes back to it. Like there needs to be a marshal that's just walking around and watching this stuff and paying attention, because every single time looking at my watch and paying attention, like there were some times where I was having to putt and then do it. And there was other times where he would putt and then I would have to do it. It sucked. So, but overall,
he's gotten better.
I called him once. There was one time that he went over 30 seconds. It was 45 seconds, but there was one time. So there you have it. Silas, we have Luke now. Fantastic. All right. Joining for the first time ever, Luke Humphries joins Tour Life. Luke, we're glad to finally have you on, brother.
What's up, guys? How we doing?
It would not be a Tour Life if there wasn't some sort of complication. So this is nothing new here, but we appreciate everything got worked out, and glad to have you up here. Yeah. All right. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to go straight into it. We don't sugarcoat anything on here.
All right.
Walk me through hole 18, stepping up to the tee box. Walk me through all the emotions, one shot lead, a tournament that you were close to winning a couple years ago. What are you thinking? And then kind of just walk me through the entire hole.
Yeah. So I looked at the scores for the first time on the tee box of 18. I heard from Patty that I needed to get more birdies on the tee box of 16. That's the only question I asked him was, do I need to keep getting birdies? And he said, yeah. So I got aggressive on 16. Obviously 17 is a birdie hole, so you got to go for it. Then coming to 18, I'm like, what's it look like? He said, you birdie, you win. That's what we decided. I birdie, I win. So going into it, I mean, my tee shot, I knew I was getting past the trees. It's weird to say, but I was like teary-eyed. I was like having a lot of emotions. I was dealing with some stuff, some family stuff that had like really hit me after that putt on 16. Like as we walked, everybody tapped out and we walked up to the tee of 17, I was like on the verge of just bursting into tears, dude.
Wow.
And then 17's tee shot was teary-eyed. So 18, I'm thinking like, it doesn't matter where I throw this thing. My uncle's with me. And I just threw it straight through that V, which was perfect because I literally was thinking to myself, like, it doesn't matter where I throw this. It's going to go out into the fairway. And it didn't exactly end up in a good spot. But I thought if I gave myself a putt, I was going to knock it down. So that was the mentality, get across that green and find a 60-footer, 55-footer less.
What was the distance? Do you remember?
A similar spot round 2. And had thrown it to like 60 feet roughly. So I was thinking I could do that exact same thing. I was a little pinched. I couldn't hit it on that Anheuser angle that I really like. So coming out with the hyzer, I pulled it right. It never really got to flat. So it didn't go as far as my other shot did and ultimately landed on the green. But I was just trying to give myself a putt. I was trying to close it out. I didn't want to go, excuse me. I didn't want to go into a playoff with Gannon or Nicholas. Honestly, those kids are freaks. wanted to end it right there if I had the chance.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it, it was hard to tell. I wish they had better audio for you guys to like hear that conversation of you asking your caddy, what should I do? So we could kind of get your mentality, because watching it as a viewer, I was questioning myself. I was like, was he trying to go for it, or was he trying to lay up, or what was it? And like you had, I think it was Nate Doss or someone saying like, you can throw it anywhere out to the left. And it's like, well, if we knew you were going for a birdie, then like going out way to the left, that's not what your play is. Like if you're playing for a par, sure, just chuck something way out left, chip up and take your par. Yeah. But yeah, it sounded like you were going the aggressive play. And we were actually just talking about this, where Nicklaus did like the exact opposite, right? On hole 17, he had a putt to basically put himself in a position to where he couldn't be caught. And he could essentially win the tournament, or put you in a position where you'd had to like birdie out to catch him. And he laid up, and he went like the more the passive route. And it sounds like you went the aggressive route. You wanted to have the chance to win it and not kind of get it taken from you. So, I mean, I commend you for that.
Yeah. I think our situations are very similar, but slightly different in the fact that he had just thrown a bad shot. In my mind, I hadn't thrown anything off in like 10 holes. I was playing fire. I just needed to look at the basket. Like it doesn't make sense to have that much confidence, obviously, but that's what I was feeling. Like, just give me any look, I'm going to drain it.
Yeah, I mean, your putt was nasty that entire day. You've got that nice little like hop putt. I wouldn't even consider it like a jump. It's like almost like a little hop, and like you just like smoothly walk through every single time. Like you don't even like stop your stride into it. It's very, very swaggy. Which I do actually want to ask you about. Like, where does, watching you play compared to some people, this swagger and confidence that you have, like where does that come from? Is that something that you've always had?
I've been competing since I was young. I know it's important to keep yourself even keeled. All the highs and the lows, they don't help you gather yourself in the big moment. So I think purposefully trying to be a little more chill, but I guess I'm relaxed as a normal guy for the most part. I don't think that like running putts in typically, and which is funny. I had this conversation with Nico like less than 2 weeks ago. I said, people who run putts in make our sport look bad. Like, you have to act like you knew you were going to make that putt. Like, you don't see any pro golfers doing it. You don't see Steph Curry doing it. Like, whenever they do something amazing, they act like they knew they were going to do it. And in our sport, it feels like we don't necessarily like adhere to that rule right there. So I was talking to Nico. I was like, stop running putts in. It looks stupid. And then like first things I have in a big moment, you just like do it. You don't even think about it. I don't even remember exactly where I was going with that, but
I think that one thing that you really do it, like Brodie was saying, with the way that you carry yourself, that can be scary too, playing against you, because it's like there's no up and down. Like, hey man, this guy hasn't won a tournament. Why is he acting like he's better than me? Type thing, and that can really get under, especially a younger player, skin a little bit. And it did. It kind of rattled. I felt like Gannon down the stretch, and he ended up making the putt on 17 like he's supposed to do, and gets through on 18, and you don't. But having that, your mentality is something similar, I think, to like a Paul Macbeth or something. That guy doesn't do nothing. Like, he's just chill, goes through the motions. Big moment pops up, he's running stuff down too. You know what I mean? And that's something rare that you don't see a lot. And I agree with you. I don't like when people run down the basket, but sometimes it just happens. I tell Brad, he always is like, I tell him, hey, don't give me those like hoots and hollers, man. This is what I do. Like, don't get surprised. I don't want anybody thinking that this is not out of the ordinary. Like, this is what we do. I make big putts, you know what I mean? Type thing. So I commend you for that. But hole 18. So you land on the green. He throws it to 45 feet. And I think you make the right choice of going for it, because I wouldn't want to go to a playoff with them either. And you have to have that killer instinct down the stretch of tournaments, especially now more than ever. Like, if you're playing soft golf and doing that, man, those guys, there's sharks in the water. They're gonna smell your fear. They're gonna hunt you down, and you're done. I really think you made the right decision. It was just unfortunate that it got caught up.
Yeah, it's hard to say too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I've been on the losing side, and I want people to understand there's no worse feeling than second place in anything ever, especially something that you dedicate your life to. So I do want to tell you that the way that you play, you keep playing like that, you're going to get one, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on not having those greens more identified? Do you think that would have changed anything? Because I went roller on that hole when I played it. And as I was walking up, I was like, I could have sworn this green up here was like, because that was why I was terrified to kind of go the middle shot, similar to you, because I was pushing that OB green in practice rounds. So the roller, I saw Kristin Tattar do it where he like got so far down the fairway. So I was like, the roller might be a better play for me. But I was walking up there and I was like, is there no OB anymore? And like the line was so faint, you could barely even see it. Do you think that was a factor that if there would have been flags or something to where you could have like identify and saw where the OB was? Because when you threw that shot, you had no idea where the OB was, in the sense of like being able to be like, that's exactly where it is. You knew it was up there. You just couldn't see it.
Yeah. And I know I didn't hit it right. Like I knew that immediately. I pulled it a little bit. It didn't get to flat, but I still felt like it was getting over. And even when it rolled, I was like, I had to have crossed on the other side. Watching the drone flight of it, because they do have a drone flight of it. A, you can't see the line. It's so faint, as you mentioned.
So faint, yeah.
And B, the guy that told me he was so sure that I didn't cross in bounds was not within 100 feet of the actual disc.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
There was nobody around that green that close that could have identified if I crossed in or out. And I end up like 24 inches out of bounds or something like that with a curl. You got to assume that it was close enough to where his 100% sureness shouldn't have been so 100% sure in my mind.
Oh.
How close would you have been? 80 feet?
Yeah, I would have been half of what I was.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a massive change. I don't know if they even talked about that really on coverage when I was watching. It was kind of just, it was kind of just like a given of like.
We're talking this. I was out of bounds by that, and it curled back at some point.
So you guys walked up, and did someone approach you to tell you that it never crossed?
Yeah. There was a guy that was standing there confidently telling me that I didn't cross, and he was a PDJ official. I don't know this person, but at that point, I had to take his word.
Yeah, that's a weird one to me too. We're gonna we might talk about this, Uli, a little bit later on, but it is a weird one of where it's like, there are some people, and the way I play is probably similar to you, Luke, of where it's like, if I'm walking up and someone's like, hey, you definitely crossed, or hey, you definitely didn't cross, I kind of just take their word, because I'm like, I'm 500 feet away. I have no idea. I'm assuming you know, or you wouldn't say. Uli sounds like he's the other side.
Heck no. Dude, I hit him with
people that like bully people, and they're like,
no, I'm not bully, dude. Here's the thing. This is a rule that I think that everybody should use to their advantage. And I'm not kidding. If I think there's even a slight bit chance that I cross, I ask the person, I'm like, so you're telling me there's no chance? There's zero chance. And if they hit me where it was like, I don't know, then I'm like, then I'm taking it up here. Because the rule doesn't say, if it's a maybe, you have to take it back here and you have to take the spotter. The rule states benefit goes to the player. Guess what a benefit is? 1%. 1% is a benefit to the player, period. That's the way the rule reads. And so if somebody's telling you and dictating your stuff, Brad always tells me the thrower knows. And he does. And a lot of times we can't tell. And so that's a rule that even if I'm in a group and somebody throws a shot, you guys have all played with me, I'm the first person to be like, nope, give yourself a good spot, because I don't know where you went out. And if there's a chance that it went out here or went out here or went out here, you give yourself the benefit of the best lie because nobody saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. We have played a couple holes now. Worlds last year at Fox Run, whatever that hole was that had the Mando that we couldn't see, they said, hey, there's going to be an official on that hole. If they say you made the Mando or missed the Mando, you have to go by them. And then I believe there was another hole that was like a blind shot, and they're like, there's an official there. They'll let you know if you crossed or not. I think we needed to be doing that more, because a perfect hole, and I was going to talk about this later on, but we can talk about it now. A perfect hole is hole 18 at WACO, right? Whether or not your disc ever crossed in bounds, because the way that hole is shaped, it could very well be short in the water, but crossed at a certain point. And they had a spotter that was on that line, that shoreline. He was standing right on that shoreline. And so he had the best perspective of whether or not that disc actually ever, got across the land and then faded. And I think we need to be having more spotters like that, where it's like, this guy is being told to be in this spot. And on hole 18, there's no OB anywhere else. So like, why is there not a marshal that's like, hey, I'm going to like be watching this OB green to see, why is that person like so far away? I don't understand that. So I don't know.
That's a good question.
There's two rules that benefit the player, and that is benefit goes to the player and provisional. Those are our only two rules we have, period. So if players aren't using that to the best of their ability, that's your fault. You know what I mean? That's your fault. Like I would have been. That's the way that I feel about it.
It's so tough to just look someone in the face and be like, "No, you're lying to me. I'm not taking it." It's like I can't do that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Luke.
That's just tough in the moment.
Yeah.
Well, the moment that you're in is 100% different when somebody's telling you, "Yeah, I was right." Like you didn't do it.
Yeah.
I would have been in the same situation. I'd been like, all right, I'm going over here. I got 300 people watching me. I'm not going to look like a tool bag.
That's
being
what I'm saying. Like fighting the spotter, the marshal. Yeah. It's such a hard spot to be in. Yeah.
And then the fight influencing the way that you throw that next shot.
Just 100%.
Because now you're pissed off. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk. You've been known to start very hot. 2022, you had a T4 finish. Followed by a second place finish at the first two events. You ended up 41st overall, I guess, in Disc Golf Pro Tour points. 2023, you had 3 top 30s to start. You finished in 62nd place overall. And now to start this year, you've got a T14 and tied for second. How do you kind of change this narrative of like, hey, Luke just is really good at the start of the season. He gets out hot and then kind of just, filters or whatever that word is I'm looking for. But how do you change that? What was it? Funnels?
Well, let's go fumble.
Fumble. Okay. Fumbles the rest of the year. How do we change that narrative of where you're like, no, this year is going to be different. Like I'm starting hot. And I'm going to be in contention more throughout the season.
I think the word is fluttering. I just flutter away.
Flutters? Okay. Fizzles. I was going for fizzles. There we go. We got
fumble, fizzle,
someone
flutter.
in the chat always has me. All right, there it is. Fizzles out. Yeah.
Like a beverage left out overnight.
Yes, exactly.
Very flat by the end of it, which is typically, those are stats. I mean, you can't lie with data right there. I definitely start out hotter. I think part of it's interest. I'm somebody who likes to do multiple things. I mean, like you guys, I have a few different jobs in disc golf. I do a lot of rock stuff on the side. I play a bunch of golf. I'm outdoors a whole bunch. I just like, what do I need to do? I need to stay focused. I need to give myself those rests during the year that allow me to stay like just into disc golf. I think by the end of it, I'm just a little sick of the road. I'm not a warrior yet. I'm still figuring it out to a degree. Last year, even though I got 61st, it was my most consistent year. I like averaged like bottom cash nearly every week and had some good weeks or whatever. But in years past, I'd have a good one and a bad one and a good one and a bad one. I was like consistently right there, just like a couple up shots, a couple putts away from putting together 1030, 1040s nearly every round. And I think I cleaned that up a little bit. I've also got a lineup of discs that I'm the most confident I've ever been with. We got the feedback last year early in the season, and that's transitioned to my number one fairway driver. Allows me to use a little bit of an Anheuser angle, still has a bunch of glide and comes back. So, I mean, the discs are the best they've ever been for me, and I think I'm set up to take some breaks. I ran a tournament in between chess.com and WACO, gave myself a little break, didn't throw a single golf shot for 6 days, and then was able to come back and still, like, not have dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
Talking. I don't usually talk that much, but taking breaks.
Yeah, welcome to tour life, brother. This is what we do here. No, I think you're doing a great job. And I was just going to ask you, like, is that something maybe that you're thinking about of where maybe in the past you're like, I can't miss out. I got to go to this tournament. Got to go. Like, are you maybe picking and choosing of where it's like, hey, I'm not going to play a tournament for 2 weeks and then I'm going to come back? Do you think that would be a smart strategy this season?
Yeah, I definitely do. Part of me wants to drop this weekend. I'm sitting in Hot Springs, Arkansas right now. I'm going to a funeral tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., then flying back to Austin to get in like a single practice round for this event, which doesn't set me up perfectly. But
this course suits you very, very, very well with the changes. You better come.
Okay.
Yes.
No. Okay. Well, that's all I needed. Literally, I was 50-50, and you just pushed me over the edge. So I'll be there. I'll be playing. I do plan to take some time off. Persimmon Ridge event during the eclipse. That's April 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm just chilling for that event. I'm not going to throw any discs. I'm a tournament director for it. So there's just a few different weekends I'm going to work in disc golf, but not throw any Frisbees, let my body rest, let my competition and like the drive inside of me kind of build up, I guess. I don't know that it works exactly like that, but it feels like there's a reservoir that kind of needs to refill itself before I can go out there and perform again.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Where's your confidence level like right now? Are you the type of guy you have a great finish and you're like, all right, I came close to winning this last weekend and next weekend is my time? Like we see this a lot in traditional golf. Somebody come really close next weekend, they get the dub and then they might not win again for a long time. But that like kind of, you're playing hot right now. Are you a momentum player?
No, I'm a feel player at the end of the day. If I knew what that course looked like down there, I might have some more confidence as I sit here right now thinking about where I could finish and what I could do, but I can't even imagine a single shot on that course yet. And that kind of like blocks me from being able to envision a high finish or like the continuation of motivation and driving.
What is it about Waco? Like you're very comfortable at the Beast. What is it about that course that makes you so confident?
I don't know exactly. I mean, it's a course that like a little chip shot forehand is super nice. Mm-hmm. And I've always prided myself on that little shot. Prodigy specifically has a disc that's just like great for that course. The A3, it's built for it. Torque resistant forehand, a little faster than like a putter. It's like exactly what you need for that. So I think it's a perfect balance. Plus it's like a hometown feel, I guess, a little bit. I mean, I didn't start loving that place. I got like 100th, then I got like 70th, and then I got like maybe 70th again or something like that. So it kicked my ass for a long time before I ever enjoyed it. It's the place where I have my only courtesy violation ever. I think it was like 2018, maybe. I won't say the guy's name, but
Are they still touring?
People would know him.
Okay. And what did you say something or what? How did you get a courtesy violation?
It was on hole 7. Grady Shue was the only other person on the card. It was a threesome. And,
oh no! People are gonna go back and look up what card you and Grady Shue were on. Oh boy, here they go. We got the investigators on it.
Yeah, they can try it. They can try it if they want. If they figure it out, good for them. I think I threw a bad shot, and then I was like turning away and kind of like hit my bag on a tree a little bit, and like a few putters popped out or something. I was just like, it was a little aggressive, but it wasn't at anybody. I was like back there, and he just turned around and was like, courtesy warning. I'm calling a courtesy warning on him. Grady's like, okay. It was an awkward experience. Needless to say, we all shot terribly, and we had already started by shooting terribly. So
is the Beast maybe the hardest course to shoot well when you're playing with 3 people that are playing bad? It might be.
Possibly.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever had a good round out there when I've been playing with people that are having a bad round.
Just chucking it up, hitting the first tree right away, just giving
you're just like, this course is impossible. I have to throw it in the tree. What am I doing?
Yeah. You see people who are throwing bad shots getting good luck out there a lot.
Oh yeah.
Which hurts to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's such an interesting course because it's one to me where it's like you have one side where it's like, I love this course, and they go out and they play it really well. And there's like this other group that's like, this is the worst course on tour. I never play good here. And it's not just like the players that say that every week and they're always playing bad. You've got like some top 20 guys that just can never figure out how to play well out there. It's a crazy, crazy course. And the finishing 17, 18, gosh, that no matter what you're doing, that finishing stretch is awesome.
Well, it's a place where you can just lose confidence right away. If you miss, let's say you miss one, and then you miss two, and then you miss three, and then you bogey four, you're done.
You feel like an idiot.
You're done. You're 5 back of 15 people. It's crazy. Yeah. And then you look at the scorecard and you're like, oh, and then you start pushing, and then the beast just smacks you up, and you shoot like 2 under. Yeah. You're done. You know what I mean? It happens quick out there. The starting, you have to be so focused from at the start though, because if you're not, and you're not getting 3 through 6 minimum.
This is how it happens. This is exactly how it happens right here. You miss some early, just like you were saying, and then you get to like hole 8. It's 215 feet. You miss hole 8, and you're just like so pissed. But is the worst time to be pissed because you got like 9, 10, 11, 12, which just can whoop your ass. Beat you up, slap. And then you come out of the woods and you miss the Mando right there. And then
you get aggressive. You're like, I'm going to try to eagle this hole and get it all back. Or you try to eagle what is now 15. You know, you try to throw down a roller to try to get an eagle, and that goes OB. And now you're taking a par on the easiest hole that we probably play all year.
Yeah.
And you're just what the heck is going on?
You're describing my last 2 years out there, man. Besides this season.
What happened with you?
Crazy.
Yeah. Fantastic finish.
Yeah, good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got out quick. Yeah, we talked about it. I just got out quick. I got the first few in a row every round, and I mean that's the recipe for that course. If you can do that and get kind of locked in, you're good to go.
Luke, our stats guy, got the found the card.
No way.
Edwin Stats doesn't mess around, dude.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Do you want me to? I don't have to say the names because we do have a lot of okay. So it's round 3, card 16. Luke Grady, Dylan Lotak, and Salim Mahana.
Yeah, I've never. Salim didn't show up that day.
All right. Well, there you have it.
That's why we were a 3-piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, I've got
Brodie, real quick. Have you ever gotten a warning out there yet?
Me?
Yeah. Me? Yeah. Have you ever gotten a warning?
Maybe from someone's, maybe under someone's breath. I'm sure people have wanted to give me stuff. I'm sure, but I don't think I've ever gotten one. No.
Nice. I've warned myself multiple times. Because nobody would do it. So I'm like, you guys are, I won't say the name. And I'm like, I'm warning myself. Like, I definitely deserve a warning. And then the only other times, which is hilarious, and you guys can attest for this, when people get into warning battles, it's hilarious because you give somebody a warning and they're like, heck no, you're getting a warning for warning me. It's hilarious. You're like, wait, what? Me? Like, you can't do that? Yeah. That's hilarious. But go ahead. I just think warnings are hilarious.
Yeah, what's the clip of where like Nico like shakes the basket or something, and you hear like Big Germ being like, "Oh, you can't do that. I gotta give you a warning." Like, it's never not funny when someone gives a warning. I don't know why, but it's always like always a funny. I gotta watch that clip again because it's hilarious.
Dude, I know it's.
Does he kick the basket or shake? He like shakes the chains or no? Does he smack it or something? He does something with the chains, and Big Germ's like, Nico, you can't do that.
The funny part is, do you know what he said afterwards?
No.
The funniest thing, Nico says the funniest thing. He goes, he's like, fine or something, and he looks at his caddy, and Germ's caddy is wearing a Cardinals hat, and he goes, go Cardinals! Oh, man. Walks off.
Oh man. I feel like it doesn't happen a lot in FPO, right? Like, does FPO ever call each other ever?
I don't know. Maybe it's changed now, but like 5-10 years ago, there was just.
I know there was that. What was it? It was Jet.
It was a crazy every round. Warning.
We talked about it on the show. It was like Jessica Weiss, Katrina Allen. There was two. Was it Ella maybe? And they had like these live cams now are really something else because I think people don't realize that they're live because there's no one operating them, and you can pick up some really good stuff around one. I completely forgot. I was like sitting on the stand of hole 18 at Lake Waco, and I was just talking to the caddy and the people, and then I was like, oh, like luckily I'm not gonna say anything crazy, but I was like, oh man, someone could be listening into this conversation right now. I just completely forgot that thing's just live. I kind of like it. I wish there was more of it. We need more hot mics. That's what we need. More hot mics.
Brody,
all over the place. Hot
you don't
mic
want
everyone.
Some of those conversations out there, I promise.
Oh man.
Free you guys some cap space.
Luke, did you see that did you see that PGA drone shot? I think it was 2 tournaments ago, and it was like they're taking the drone up, and it was like going to give like a really nice look of like the hole with the ocean and everything, and there was just a dude right there pissing in the bushes, one of the golfers. Did you see that?
No.
Oh god, it was hilarious. It reminded me like, what was it, like James Conrad was like going to the bathroom like 10 feet away from the basket at that one hole. You remember that photo? I don't know if you guys saw that photo. There's like a photo of like someone putting, and James Conrad's like in the background just like taking a leak real quick in the trees. It's tough out there. Like Waco's really hard. If you have a crowd watching it is so hard to find a spot, because like you get to a spot and then you look up and you're like, oh, there's like people walking right there. Like it's very hard to find a bathroom. And I probably shouldn't be saying this because if you're a female, it's like almost impossible. Like you have to wait for a porta potty, which is tough. Good segue. Look what I pulled, Luke.
Ooh. That's clean. Yeah, you've been into the cards lately.
Yeah, this is Iconics Gold 7 out of 10.
Oh, snap.
A lot of. I'm giving all these cards away from this first box, but I had a lot of people be like, "I'm a buyer. I want to buy that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm giving these away right now." But
you know what? After this weekend, that's worth a lot more. Yeah,
that's someone's gonna be very, very happy to receive that at some point.
After next weekend. That's just triple.
Yeah,
it was.
All right, I have a listener question here. Someone wanted to know, any advice on people trying to train their dogs to play disc golf with it?
Man, I got lucky for the most part. I took him out on the course immediately. I'll just tell you what I did with Hogan. I got him from the pound. He was 4 months old. He had just been neutered. I took him to the course without a leash immediately, and he just like understood what was going on. And so right away, he followed our group. He would kind of, once we threw a disc, he would know which direction we were headed, and he'd start meandering. A lot of dogs on the course nowadays, and like 95% of them are super annoying. So it's tough. It's definitely tough. Dogs are annoying on golf courses. Like, to have Hogan around, like most people at first were like, you can't come out here. Like, we're about to go to Bud Hill in Memphis, and apparently like no dogs have ever been to Bud Hill is what they've been telling me as we go there, but for good reason. Like, they're pretty annoying on the golf course. So start off by like no discs, like nothing at all. Like he doesn't care about frisbees, because we made sure that frisbees were just off limits from the bat. Tennis ball is cool. Having some treats in your pocket while you're out on the course to make sure that he's like coming back to you. That's a good way to do it too. He didn't retrieve a disc out of the water until he was like 6, and that completely randomly just started happening. And I think it just developed because he kind of knew what we were doing. We'd always go after those little circles, and one of the circles was floating in the pond, and he kind of knew that we wanted it, and so he just snagged it. And we gave him so many pets and stuff that kind of became a thing. So that's how I can do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely did the opposite. I was like, I want to have a frisbee dog, so I immediately like throw the frisbee and have them chase it. And we take them to the disc golf course, and they just are sitting there barking at me nonstop to throw it. I'm like, we can't bring them out here. This is terrible. So I had another question. What's the situation right now with like GK Pro skins? Like where's that out? How many are you guys doing this year? All that.
Yeah, we are working with private courses almost exclusively these days. We're going to do like 4 or 5 events on tour this year. None of them have happened yet. It's going to be like OTB Preserve Maple Hill Vermont Worlds or something like that. I think it's we're doing some stuff at some private places, showing some people some courses they've never seen before, allowing the communities to really get behind the private courses that they've been able to play at and help grow for so long. So we had great success last year at places like Kayak Point, at Persimmon Ridge, out in Pennsylvania, this Failer Lake. I don't know if you guys caught that one, but that was where AB was throwing like 750, 800 feet over these water carries from the top of dams and stuff. So it's been fun to show people and to showcase new courses. And that's what we're going to continue doing this year with some more private courses. So I don't know.
Makes sense to that. More control, right? Like you don't have to deal with all the other players practicing out there and all that stuff. So makes sense.
And a nice closed down course helps.
Yeah. Okay. So this is your first time on. So we normally end the interviews with asking you 2 questions. I'll start first and then Uli will finish it.
Okay.
Pet peeves. So this is your opportunity to literally get anything out there that you're like, man, this happens in disc golf, whether it's on the pro tour or back at your home course or whatever, anything that you're just like, this really grinds my gears.
Pump fakes.
Oh,
yeah, I hate the pump fake, dude. Don't do that on the green. Don't go through the whole entire thing in full speed stop at the very end. Like, come on now. Like, you're pump faking everybody, and if you do it multiple times, like, we're not friends.
Well, you played with someone that's got the nastiest pump fake ever, Mason Ford. I've fallen over the foul line so many times where I'm like, he does 2 pump fakes, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, 2 pump fakes, pump fake, and then he goes and I'm like starting to walk and it's like pump fake. I'm like, oh, he did 3. Like, what the? He's the pump fake master.
Right. Pump fakes, not cool. Practice rounds. This is my other thing. Practice rounds. People throw that shot and they just stand on the tee box and watch the whole damn thing. Like, get off the box. Let's throw multiple shots here. Let's get it all done quick. We're practicing. Another pet peeve: people who won't let people throw in on them, or people that assume that you're not allowed to throw in on me. Like, if you think you can hit me from 550 feet away with a disc, you're stupid. It's not happening. You can't do it. Let me throw in on you too, because I'm guessing you're not like crazy unathletic either if you're out here. So watch it come in. It'll probably aid you at the end of the day. We need to do this more often. Let people throw in on these holes so that we can view the hole from the green. It'll show you so much more. Well, I know that you know this from golf and visualizing a hole from the green. It helps so much. And we just don't do it in disc golf. We got to wait till they're so far away, because like, what if I hit somebody with a disc that took 14 seconds to get to them? Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of holes that I feel like you should, if the group gets to their discs, they should like almost turn around and let the next group throw, because we've all played those holes where it's like we have to wait, then they finally get off, and then someone hits first available, or someone throws and they have to re-tee or something. You're just like, we just wasted all this time. I love that. I love pace of play, baby. Let's go.
Dude, I call Phil Delaunay like every other round probably, or text him at least and tell him like which groups are slowing down who, and like there's just so much, and I'm gonna blatantly call it out right now. It's called cheating. There's so much cheating in disc golf. These people won't just throw the disc. They got to sit around and do all this stuff. It's like literally.
It's hurting, honestly. It's not just hurting us as competitors that aren't, that are abiding by the rules, but it ultimately is also hurting the product. Like, we are having to compete for people's attention, and there are so much stuff out there where, I mean, you watch, I'm a huge Love is Blind guy. Is anyone else Love is Blind?
My lady watches it. I've seen.
Okay.
My girl watches it.
The reunion comes out tomorrow on Netflix. Okay. They filmed 3 to 4 hours. That's how long they filmed the reunion. Do you know how long the episode's going to be? Like 1 hour and 20 minutes. They're going to cut all the crap, and they're going to make it to where it's the highlights. Bang, 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 bang. And like, that's what the world we live in now, right? And so why are we trying to extend and be like, no, let's have a 7-hour. You know what we should do? Let's have a 7-hour broadcast. Let's make people have to pay attention to disc golf for 21 hours this weekend. It's like, no, dude, like if we can like bang out these rounds in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and not 3-4 hours, I think that product is so much better.
I haven't even thought of that, but that's genius, Brodie. You're hitting on a point right there. When we're sitting on a tee box for 10 minutes, 10 different times, we just wasted so much time. We're also not going to throw as good of a shot. This is, in my analogy, I show up ready to throw 10-30, 10-40 rated shot. And for every 2 minutes that goes by, that's 10 points that I just dropped on that shot. I'll throw a 50 rated shot. I promise you, after a 25-minute wait, I'll stand up and think I'm about to throw good, but it never works. Like if we can get into that momentum and that rhythm, it's such a better product.
Yeah, we're not a slow sport. And like golf is slow, but there's so much to talk about. There's so much that's going on where a 20-foot putt is like one of the most boring things to watch.
Yeah.
So like watching someone take 30 seconds to make a 20-foot putt, it's like it's watching paint dry. Yeah. And it's like we should be walking up to these putts and like banging them in like 3 to 5 seconds.
2 courses every time we play. Put the FPO division on that course. Make ours threesome. Bam. Gone.
Oh yeah, let us fly. Threesomes, baby. Let us fly. All right, Uli, hit him with the final one.
All right, final one. Out of everybody on tour, who do you look at their game and you go, man, that's nice. That's nice. I wish I had a little of that.
I mean, is this a serious question? Like, is this the same answer that everybody's got to give? Like, AB, are you serious, bro?
AB gets called a lot.
He gets a lot. AB gets a lot. There's some other people on there.
Much of AB, dude. Just a sliver, bro. You don't even have to give me that far. It's just like a tiny bit of that disc golf talent. You see the way I throw? It looks weird, bro. AB looks like a professional athlete.
Yeah.
AB's a good
answer,
one.
Good answer.
It's funny how as the season goes, like we were getting some like Isaac Robinson when he was like in his stretch of like winning a bunch. Paul Macbeth gets thrown. It's funny how like certain times of the season, like certain names will get thrown out there.
No doubt.
AB's a good one. A lot of people say AB.
When you watch Isaac Robinson throw it pure through the gap with an FX4 over and over and over, like yeah, he'll be in your mind too. That makes sense to me. I mean, Isaac Robinson is pace of play, speed of play, all that stuff. Just it's fantastic to watch, bro. I love that pace of play, man.
Yeah, we should start doing something, Luke, where it's like after 10 seconds, you can physically start giving harm to the person.
Or just talking smack at least. I mean, just like
it opens up. You're now allowed to talk.
Yeah,
so you can just
12 times on that. I get to start talking.
Yeah. Oh man! All right, we got some rules. I think if there ever was a competitive league, I think these are some of the rules that need to be implemented. It could be very interesting. But all right, sweet. Did you have anything else you want to shout out your sponsors, shout out anything coming up, anything like that?
I mean, big shout out to Prodigy Discs, OTB Discs, Big Country Beef Jerky, Tree Love. And then also this new rangefinder that I'm working with. It's the Eagle Seeker from Eagles Crossing. They've got that second course too that is supposed to be super nasty. I haven't gotten out there yet, but Philip Samuels, he's the man. I love Philip Samuels.
That course is. I wish it wasn't in the middle of nowhere. I'll say that it is a sick course, but it is in the absolute middle of nowhere. So
100%. Well, while I'm here, can I get your guys' thoughts on something? Because it's been something I've been mulling over hard lately. Is the fact that 40 years old in disc golf all of a sudden becomes this age where you stop working hard, you start playing all the old guys, and we're losing so much. Like we'll never have a 16 strikeout no-hitter from Nolan Ryan at 44 years old. That's not going to happen at the rate that we're going. Our heroes and our legends are quitting the game too early. They're at their physical peak. 40 years old is not like over the hill or anything. These people are mentally and physically at the intersection of as great as they're ever going to be. And we're just like missing them to 6 different events, the Solinsky Masters or whatever. I'm not talking smack. Okay, I kind of am. Kale Leviska should be playing all the tour events that he can, not playing Masters at the Memorial. He should have been on lead card. He shot 1070 first round. He should have played with AB, Aaron Gossage, and Gannon Buhr at the height of their powers.
Why didn't he? Did you ask him, or do you know?
Maybe Uli knows. I don't know. Is a dub worth that much? This is a dude I really love, and so I'm not talking smack right now. Kale Leviska is pioneer in this game and a badass. And I wish that I could see him more often, especially on coverage with the best in the game.
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe just getting whipped down over the last like 8-9 years and not catching the dub kind of wears on you a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm 35. I'm ancient in this game. One of my goals is, man, I want to compete like Johnny McRae, bro. Like that dude is a wild man out there. And when he gets on coverage, he plays with fire, bro. And for me, like, people think of me as a grinder for how long I've done it or whatever, and I don't want to stop that. Like, I want to be competitive into my 40s for sure. I feel like I'm athletic enough and I have the drive, but I think that's what it is because I feel that sometimes. That's your guy, bro.
Hey, just give me a sliver, bro. Just give me a little slice.
But I feel, I also feel that like it's tough when you get out there and you have 2 seasons where you're missing cash at half the events. That's not a fun road to go down, especially when there's an easier place to go for sure. So I don't fault them. I don't fault them when that's happening, because it is a financial decision too. Like, you can't just go there, take 7th, look at the Masters and be like, dang, if I played that, I would have won by 7 and made $3,000 plus,
right?
Won $3,000 plus a bonus maybe from your sponsor or something. I don't think that I'll get there anytime soon, but I hear whispers of people my age being like, dang, that Masters looking good, boy.
They talk about it too much. Everybody, I'm 36, and everybody my age is wishing they could turn 39 so that they could play in the Masters. And to me, it's just like asking to be irrelevant and not cared about anymore on a tour that kind of matters, maybe doesn't. Or events. If you're 1035, you can win.
There's a difference.
Kale was playing on lead card at WACO 2 years ago. He was with me in 2022. And he was there in 2021 battling with Nico.
Yeah. Kale's nasty at WACO. He's one of those guys, too, that's like that course suits his game so well.
That dude's just nasty, period.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would struggle probably on some of the longer courses, but we very few, like Lake Waco is not a long course. I think people are like, they always say golf course and they think long. You're only throwing like a full shot maybe 3 times. It's not a long course.
I really think that's another thing. Like, these guys going and playing some of these courses, they're long, bro. They're long for me. Like, it's a
some of them are.
It's an uphill climb for sure to be able to do that, and you'd have to just absolutely ball out in order to be able to compete with an Anthony Burrell who's 250 feet down the fairway.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah,
that's what I'm learning.
Yeah, which is doable. At the end of the day, our game is a putting game. Phil Mickelson won a major at 52. Tom Watson almost won a major at 59, and we're not going to have any of those.
I wonder if it's because there is, one, obviously we have to generate the power versus they have a club, right? But I also wonder too, is there not a big enough gap in between? I mean, especially off tour, there isn't, right? Like Kale in that position going to Memorial, he's probably looking at who's signed up for MPO and who's signed up for Masters and thinking like, hey, if I play terrible, I'm probably going to get second maybe at Masters. Or I don't even know who was in there. Uli, was your brother there?
Yeah,
Uli's brother, who's solid.
Don't sleep on Pete Uliberry, bro.
But how many people were there though? Like that could compete against Kale, like 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, Brinster was there. I mean, there's people who can play well for sure.
But I wonder if that's it. Like if they made it to where there was a big enough difference between Masters and MPO, maybe that would shift people.
Well, I also think that our course design pushes that age group out. I mean, if it's a tight out of bounds, I've talked about it with you. I think Luke doesn't like it, but I love stroke and distance. I love it. If you throw a bad shot, you're down. I want you to re-tee. If that was our type of courses all the time, to where you just got double penalized for all your shots, anybody could win. And then it's who's that most accurate and who's making the most putts. I think it would be better for viewing. I think it'd be better for everything. And I get a lot of pushback with everybody. Everybody's like, "Oh, let us throw it wherever we want." I'm like, "All right, man."
Yeah, that's what people want.
Double penalized is a word that disc golf invented. That's called a normal penalty in other sports. In golf, the ones that invented that, that's called a penalty. As you go out of bounds, you gotta hit it again. That's how the rules work. Like, it's not double penalized. It's we made it soft, and then we're making it seem like the actual rules are super tough.
But if you look at like the USDGC, who has a lot of those rules, Barry Schultz competed well into his 40s.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And those are the type of courses that you don't have to have them all like that. But if you had 5 or 6 that played out like that, to where it was just like this stressful environment, to where every shot mattered no matter what. And there was, like, for example, you get to hole 17 at the USDGC. It's one of the scariest holes in the world. You know why? Because you can take a 7. Imagine if you had like 6 or 7 holes on one course like that. All of a sudden, the anxiety level of that player is extremely high. And guess who's the best at that? People who've been playing and who are the most experienced in those situations over a long period of time. That's those guys. That's Cale LaVisca. That's Barry Schultz. Those are the older guys that are seeing the moment and can do it.
Well, Climo also like shredded their little thing at USDGC. I want to say Climo like had 5 birdies in the first 8 holes or something. When I was yeah, at the skins match at I was like, why the heck is he not playing? And maybe it's one of those things of where he can maybe do that for 8 holes, but doing it over the course of 4 days, maybe that's tough on his back or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it is possible. No, I know. I'm saying it is possible. I agree with you. Yeah. I think Cale's one of the more interesting people too, and I would definitely love to see him. But then again, it's tough, man. These tournaments, though, it is tough to like go and play at these tournaments.
Like Cale won. I'm looking at it right now. 2,500 for the win. He beat KJ Nybo by 2. KJ Nybo shot the 1070 round, second round. That dude should be playing an Open as well. He's one of the heroes from Europe. Incredible player. He's 10-11 rated right now. Steve Brinster was there, and obviously Pete Ulibarri and Daniel Polk. Don't sleep on him from Minnesota. But all of those guys, I played with Polk last year at the Preserve. He had a Spike-Heiser tapping eagle on 18. That dude is amazing. These people are amazing. Like, we need these incredible stories that we're missing because our heroes and legends are leaving early. And that's all I wanted to say about that.
Guess what, Luke? If they had 10 grand for last cash, you know where they'd be playing? Our tour.
That is a fact. Yeah. That is a fact. All right. Good talk. Appreciate you, Luke, taking the time.
Hey, Luke, I'll be praying for your family, man. I'm sorry to hear about your uncle, really.
Yes. And we hope you have safe travels too if you do end up deciding, or I guess Uli convinced you that you are coming to Austin. So
I bought the ticket. Yeah.
Safe travels back.
I'll land in Austin at 9:00 tomorrow night, but I appreciate you fellas. Thanks for having me on.
All right, of course, man. Buddy. Always a pleasure. There you have Luke Humphries, ladies and gentlemen. Great interview. That was awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very cool. All right, we got a lot to talk about still, Uli. So I want to try to bust through this as fast as we possibly can. Right. Try to make this under 3 hours. That is the goal. Okay, so let's go through it. We talked about Ricky Wysocki's 2-stroke penalty. Gannon Stoll. He might be Jared Stoll might. Did I say Gannon? Jared Stoll might be the most psychotic player on tour. This guy is an absolute maniac. Let's pull the video up here, Silas. We should have it underneath in the show notes. Hole 17 at the Beast. He goes tomahawk.
I believe it was just last year. We had
over the
Jared
entire
Stoll
thing
going over the top on 17, and it looks like he's done it again.
This is insane. Was that a replay from last year? It was final round last year too.
This is roughly 400 feet.
This is amazing. Look at where he's throwing.
Over OB. This entire thing is OB. If this does not clear, he's rethrowing.
An event during this off season. And he said, yeah, and I missed the putt. And we said, well, you did, but it was still one of the greatest drives that we saw all year long.
I don't think he's missing this putt, Terry. Look at how close he's going to end up.
All right.
It's just dropping out of the sky.
Silas, you can pull that away now. Perfect. Thank you. This is the 400-foot shot. I think we actually even have the graphic. I think this is what Custom Course Maps pulls this up too. So you can kind of get even a better visual of like what he's actually doing here. This is a 400-foot shot that he most of us near mortals are just throwing like a chip sidearm out to the left, and then we throw another chip sidearm up. Now you might be thinking to yourself like, oh, well, like he's probably like playing terrible and he gets there and he's like, who cares? Like, I don't care if I take a 10. The dude was 6 under going into this hole. Like he was having a good round. And then he was 8 under after this hole because he tapped in for eagle. All you people out there that say they need a Mando this hole, absolutely not. Those are the shots that we want to see. The risk reward is super high on that, and it's an absolute highlight. And there's only a handful of people on tour that can do that. Crazy. Let's talk real quick. The cut line, super small field, right? We had over 100 players, not that big of a field. So the top 40%, some people are confused by this. FPO top 50 continue on, top 40 for MPO continue on. There were so many ties, like we talked about, Uli, that it ended up being, it was supposed to be the top 46 players, but because there were so many ties, it ended up being the top 39, because in that tied for 39th, there was a bunch of players, I think 7. Here's some notable names that ended up missing the cut. And I think we started talking about this on debate night a couple years ago, and it would be like 2 or 3 people. And we'd be like, just wait, this list is going to get bigger and bigger, like more big names. Because back in the day, Uli, like no notable names would ever miss a cut or cash, right? Like you guys were, it was like pretty much automatic every week.
Absolutely, yeah, never.
Yeah.
I went years without.
Yeah, like cash. You weren't nervous at all about it. So here we go. Here's some big names: Eric Oakley, Gavin Rathbun, who just had a top 10 finish at the Florida Invitational. Nico LaCastro, who is a past winner at this tournament. Drew Gibson, Simon Lizotte, Paul Kranz, Albert Tam, Thomas Gilbert, Gavin Babcock, Colton Montgomery, Parker Welk, Paul Macbeth, Silas Schultz, Linus Carlson, Kevin Jones, Chris Clemens, Isaac Robinson. I mean, that's a who's list. Like right now, if all those players entered in some random tournament somewhere, people would be like, holy crap, this tournament's insane. Look at all these people playing. I mean, that's a who's list. And that just shows you how tough it is to cash on tour right now. Like you have to play well. You can't play poorly. 5 players DNF this week, Uli. How many of those 5 do you think are playing in Austin?
5.
You think all of them are playing? It's sad, but I might have to agree. The DNFing is what is it? It's a cancer. It's a disease. It's something that spreads, and I don't like it, and it needs to stop. I'm not playing good, so I'm going to DNF. I don't like it. We have a cut line. You don't have to play the final round if you're not playing well the first 2. Someone that did not DNF and did it the right way, Calvin Heimburg. Calvin Heimburg, we speculated about his poor finish at the chess.com Invitational, that there might have been some sort of injury or something that was going on. We were correct. He actually does have an elbow injury. I actually texted him today to see like what's going on. He doesn't know if he's going to play Austin. He's cleared to throw backhands, but he's not cleared to throw forehands. So that's where he's at right now. So I don't know what that looks like. Hopefully he doesn't come back too
soon.
An elbow injury is not something I think you want to mess around with. So hopefully he doesn't come back too soon. What do we got next? We got stats. Where the heck are the stats, Uli? I still have no idea how to find stats.
There are none.
Okay, no stats.
There's like each individual round you can find them. We can't even find them when we're trying to do Joe Miss.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's tough. It's tough right now.
UDisc, we miss you dearly. We can't find stats. T-pads, we talked about it a little bit. You talked about you slipping and injuring yourself. I don't think everyone understand watching the commentary. Or watching the coverage. The issue with some of these golf courses is they say, hey, we'll let you come out here, but you can't put your T-pads in the ground. So a lot of these T-pads are having to be built off the ground. And so there's a drop off on the back of the T-pad and there's a drop off on the front of the T-pad. What do you think about that, Uli? Is that something that we just have to suck up and take as players to be like, hey, this is the only way we play this course? Or what do you think should happen? Should there be a standard of where it's like, if we can't put tee pads that are flat in the ground, we're out?
Yes. There should be never a drop off at the end of the tee pad or a jump up unless they are extremely long and you're able to be safe on them. Because here's the issue. It's not the fact that we don't know how to shorten our run up and throw shots. We can all do that. Will you get as much power? No, but probably nobody will get as much run up unless they just play that way all the time. The issue is when you get crazy rain and then they become slippery and people fall when you slip on a tee pad. This happened. They were slippery along with you having to jump up or start on there and then have to finish in 9 feet. Okay. And if you slip on these things with the drop off and you end up going off the edge of the tee pad, it is extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst fall I've ever taken besides the time where I tore my ACL. The worst fall. I thought I literally did it again. I had to like address it and be like, okay, am I okay type thing. And that just happened to me. It had to have happened to other people. Listen, this is why it can't happen. You have to protect your product, period. And if Anthony Barella falls off the end of a tee pad and snaps his knee in half, you didn't protect your product and he's out for 7 months. And guess who likes to watch Anthony Barella?
Everyone. Yeah.
Disc golf fans. That's the number one guy, right? That's who you want to. If Isaac Robinson does it, if Simon Lizotte does it, you're not helping yourself in any way. You have to protect your players. You just have to do it.
All right. Next clip here, Silas, if you can pull this up. We've got Nicholas's what was this? This is hole 12, I think, or 13, 11. One of those holes at Lake Waco. This is the final day. Hole 15.
Antela now. Again, he's birdied 7 of the last 8.
He's going to get aggressive here. There is an out-of-bounds golf green. You have to just go over here.
He's gone past and he's gone out of bounds. Does it come back in? It does! Yeah! Off the back wall. Wow. Antela in bounds with a birdie look.
Not only in bounds, inside the circle. I mean, he went from, oh my goodness, that would have been an outside the circle par putt, and it becomes a 15-foot birdie look after he takes his meter. OMG.
It was like 30 feet, but okay.
Okay. Backboards and disc golf suck. All right. Backboards and disc golf suck. I was watching hole 18 because I'm on the cut line. I'm watching people come in and finish and seeing how they're playing. I saw someone on hole 18 skip their shot into the back wall and it jumped back 3 feet in bounds. We obviously just saw it right there. We need to be putting these backboards, fences, walls. These need to be so far away from the OB. Why are they so close to the OB lines?
I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think you should have them that close.
That was a bad shot. That was a shot that was going to be 45 feet OB long. And it's just a flukiness thing that needs it. Like get rid of these walls.
There's going to be flukiness on the course. There's trees. Yes. There's this. There's that. Yes. There's people. The blah blah blah. There's going to be those things. You can't, but you have to try your best to not put more.
Yes. I'm going to respond to our first comment from Bobby here, who is a Tour Life crew member. I appreciate you, Bobby, but I disagree with you. You said so people can get up close and see. If you move that wall 5 feet further back, you are still just as you're close enough. You don't need to be that close. And if you move that wall 5 feet back, so it's not 4 feet off the line and it's 9 feet off the line, no disc is ever hitting that wall and coming back 9 feet. It's not happening. So, yeah, I don't know. I hate that. I hate watching that. But good for Nicholas for getting a good luck, I guess. Let's see here. All right, let's go FPO. If there was anything else MPO that I missed, Uli, that you wanted to discuss? Okay, FPO. Kristin Tattar dominates the field without her A game. I think that's the big storyline. If you watch her play all 4 rounds, yes, there was signs of her playing well here and there, but she wasn't dialed in. She had some bad shots. She missed some putts. It wasn't like she was playing incredible. She would tell you that she didn't play that great, and she dominated. It was over after the front 9 on the final round. And I think the big issue that FPO is having is we've seen this dominance in other sports before, but it's still been entertaining to watch because there's always been someone always comes and you're like, oh, are they going to be able to knock her down or not? Are they going to be able to knock him down? And I think right now when Kristin Tattar enters a tournament, I don't know, Uli. I don't think anyone can beat her. I don't think anyone's even getting close. And so, like, to me, it makes it like not that exciting to watch.
She's gonna lose this year. She will lose to somebody.
Okay.
But it's gonna be a long season for the FPO field, man.
Bro.
She might not lose, dude. But I mean, judging statistically, she's gonna end up losing.
Like, did you hear what happened too? Like, she almost didn't even show up to this tournament because she had visa issues. Yeah. Like, they got in super late. They had to do 2 practice rounds each day. She said she got into the tournament super sore because she played way more than she wanted to. And I think Ella Hansen got a good start, and then Kristin, I think, took 11 shots or something on her in round 3, like something ridiculous. This is her 19th Disc Golf Pro Tour win, including majors. She just got rated 999. I don't know if she'll ever hit 1,000, but she probably will. I posted a tweet too that said the only person that can beat Kristin this year is Kristin, basically meaning if she beats herself. But I wrote Kirsten, and maybe that's it. Maybe we need Kirsten. Maybe Kirsten is the only one that can beat Kristin. So if there's a Kirsten out there that plays disc golf, by all means, start signing up to this. Valerie, I think Val does a decent job as a commentator. Again, no one's going to be perfect if you're on there talking 3-4 hours. I mean, we're on here talking for only 3 hours a week, and we say all sorts of crazy stuff. But Val said one of the dumbest things I've ever heard on coverage. She said Haley King birdied a hole, and basically, Haley King birdied a couple holes in a row. And Val, after she birdied a couple holes in a row, Val goes, all right, Haley King controls her own destiny. She was down 5 strokes to the best player in the world ever. That's the exact opposite of controlling your own destiny. You have no control. The control is not in your hands at all. And then a few holes go by and she's down by 8. I get it. You're trying to build a storyline, but it's everyone in FPO is please Kristin mess up, because that's the only chance I have. So I thought, I don't know. I heard that and I was just that's wild. That's the exact opposite. There was a tweet to me addressing that Missy Gannon cheated on live coverage. I looked into it. I get why some people are upset. It kind of goes back to what you were saying, Uli, where you walk up to a spot and you don't agree with the spotter, or you're like, I saw it this way, and you take the benefit of the doubt or whatever. I think what the situation was is that no one could see the spot on the card. And I think they gave her a good spot where if you watched it on coverage, it never crossed. It was one of those situations. I don't know if that's, I have a hard time believing that's blatantly cheating. The Holland Hanley situation.
I'll stop you right there, because here's the alternative. She crosses and she doesn't get the spot. Then it's just disc golf. Come on.
Yeah, it's
all
tough.
right. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think this is a completely different situation than Holland Hanley. Holland Hanley could see her shot the entire time. So that one, I had a little more pushback on Holland of whether or not she thought she was in, where this, it seemed like it was a blind shot for everyone. So no one had any idea. And it's actually very similar to what happened to me on hole 18 at the Beast. I threw my shot And as I was walking up to like the water to like throw another shot over, because I came up short, we were kind of like trying to like signal to the spotter over there, like, did I cross or not? And he like pointed at the ground. And I was like, I guess that means I crossed. And we went up there and he's like, your disc definitely crossed. So I get it. Like, you have to kind of sometimes work with the spotter, but I'm also with you too, of where it's like, if you, I don't know, man, it's tough. It's a tough situation.
This is the problem, is because people who see it from their couch, or people who see it from afar and you're playing against somebody and they go, no, you didn't do it. Well, what about when you do? What about when you do? That happens all the time, dude.
Happens probably more often.
Absolutely cross, and there's nobody to say it. And then, maybe I don't even think I cross, and I'm now back here 100 feet or something. So it's okay when it doesn't benefit the player, for the audience or for the field, but it's not okay when sometimes it goes the opposite way. Like, that's not how disc golf works, and that's why we have a rule in the rule book that says benefit goes to the player. People have to understand the rule doesn't say kinda goes to the player. This is a rule, the same as you having to show up 5 minutes before your tee time. This is a rule that we have, so you use it.
So talking a little bit about like the Kristin Tattar, how to make the FPL a little bit more engaging to watch. I think one of the big things is like some of the top contenders, they have to try to figure out parts of their game, because to me right now, the three names that jump out at me as potentially having the best chance to beat Kristin: Holland Hanley, Ella Hansen, and probably Missy Gannon. I think Evelina shows a little bit, like, I don't know what happened with her this week. Evelina showed a little bit at Chess Invitational, but like, these are all three top players, and they all had big meltdowns, I would call. You have Henna right here, 4 putt. Go ahead. You have a fifth?
I have 5 people. You got Evelina.
Yes.
You have Holland Hanley.
Yes.
You have Ella.
Yes.
Okay. Missy. And you can't sleep on Own. Oh,
yeah. Own for sure, but to me, Own can only compete at courses that distance isn't a big deal.
But that's okay.
You're right. But these are 3 top players as well that are trying to push, and these are some major issues that they need to figure out. So we're going to talk about Haley King in a second. This first clip is Henna. I don't know if you caught this, Uli. This is Henna. One of the best tee to green plays. We might not have the clip. Do we not have the clip, Silas? Oh, here we go.
3 holes left to play. Kristin and Lee Carter back on hole 13.
After such a great drive by Henna, she air.
So this is I'm pretty sure all these putts are inside of 15 feet. She has struggled on some. She has struggled some elevated baskets, but I mean, this is one of the best players tee to green. We'll have to see how Evelina continues. And we have a stat here from Edwin Stats here. Evelina finished 4th because her putting regressed back to the mean. Her tee to green was second to only Kristin and was close, only 1 stroke. So she only lost 1 stroke to Kristin, but her putting kind of went back to not great. Henna's another person. If she can figure out her putting, she is 4 putted from 15 feet. You're not going to beat Kristin Tattar if you're 4 putting from 15 feet. Another one, Paige Pierce. Now, granted, we can give her a little grace. She's coming back way sooner than I thought from her injury. But a part of Paige's game is I think she sometimes is a little bit too aggressive. And she ended up carding a 12 on hole 16 at Lake Waco. We can pull up the thing. I think what ended up happening is she probably went OB early right and then just continued to try to throw like the hyzer over the OB the entire time. That's the only way I can think of you getting a 12 on that hole. But to me, that kind of goes to the aggressive play of like, if you go into a spot OB there, you can just pitch up take your bogey at worst and move on and live to fight another day. But to me, like a 12 there just kind of shows sometimes, like, I think that's her biggest issue is like maybe the aggressiveness is like she's sometimes just too over aggressive. And we don't really ever see that from Kristin. Kristin's kind of like, she kind of plays like a smart game and never really puts herself in that position. Last one, I wish we had the video of this, Uli. They showed it was like a highlight reel. And I thought it was like Hailey King fainting. Like I thought she was like passing out or having issues because the way she was just like collapsing to the ground. They claim that she had some sort of leg injury. And being someone that's had multiple leg injuries, I never just like collapse to the ground. I'm like if I'm like trying to get to the ground and I have a leg injury, I'm like super gingerly getting to the ground. It was weird. There was another clip where she was like limping to her lie, to her lie, jump putts, and then runs in the putt. We might have some soccer theatrics going on over here. We might have some LeBron James of where like you get like a little hangnail and you like build it up. I don't know. Maybe some people like that. I don't know if that, to me, that's kind of a turn off. Like I don't really love watching people play up injuries that aren't real injuries or whatever it may be. But that's another person. Like a lot of people have talked about, Hailey King has all the talent in the world throwing, putting, but it's like up here, right? That's like what we've always talked about is like, can she figure it out up there? What are your thoughts on that? Those are three people that I think a lot of people would consider are pushing towards the top that kind of showed this past week, like big holes in their game.
Yeah. I mean, you got to work on your putt, period. And they do. Here's the thing. I know that they both, Hannah and Evelina, work on their game. They're putting constantly. The stroke has to change. You know, the stroke has to go from whatever they're doing now to something completely different. I'm a coach. I deal with this stuff all the time with a lot of people. This isn't going to get better over grinding the same putt over and over and over and over again, because there's so much baggage up here from
with
this stroke
that
when you get into a situation on the course, what happens is that anxiety and past memories from this stroke that you're trying to perfect come back, and those are more overwhelming than the moment. In my opinion, one of the only ways to get past this is drop the stroke. And you don't have to completely abandon it. You don't. But you need to try something else for a while and then maybe go back to where the feelings subside. Because this is not only a physical issue, it's a mental issue. And you have to work on both of those things. If you're constantly putting yourself and you're three putting like this, that three putt is going to be in your mind next time you putt. And the next time after that, and the next time after that, and the next time after that. I went through the yips in 2012 where I couldn't make it from short distance because I broke my wrist. I dropped the putt and I went to a different one. And I wasn't a better putter, but I was able to.
You're a great putter now, though, on tour.
But I have switched my putt so many times because anxiety would get in those strokes, and I would be like, okay, the only way I can get past this is by completely switching and starting fresh. Because when you have a new putt that you're learning, when you miss, it's okay. It's okay. It's a new stroke. And when you make good putts, now you have a good feeling, right? You have a good feeling moving forward. That would be when I look at them putt, that's what I would say is you have to completely get away from that because it's going to be too much to handle. Unfortunately, they're not playing these small tournaments. They're playing big tournaments. They're getting on lead cards where the pressure is crazy. My putt falls apart more in the final day than it does in the first day. Why? Everybody's does. Everybody. The pressure's higher. And the people who it doesn't fall apart, they win the tournament. It's not like Gannon is completely immune to that pressure. We've seen it with Isaac. We've seen it with Gannon. It gets harder and harder. And so when you already have this bad putt and then you're pushed into the highest of anxiety situations, bad memories slip in there, and it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, that's good advice. Just change it up completely and start fresh. Talk about starting fresh. Maria Oliva. I would love to still have her come on the show. I know she turned us down the first time I asked, but if she wants to come on the show, it'd be great. She ended up leaving. This is a crazy story. She ended up leaving all her discs in Dallas, which I'm currently in Dallas. It took me about an hour and 45 minutes to get up here. I don't know what the situation was of like how she wasn't able to get the discs, or like after playing round one with a new, because they play in the morning, like why it wasn't possible for, I don't know the story. I would love to know the story. I have no idea the story. All I know is she was playing with a new set of discs, didn't play well, and ended up DNFing. Not because of injury or anything like that, just that's a crazy story.
Are you sure she wasn't injured?
I'm pretty sure I watched an Instagram video of hers that she was not injured. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't like that, but
yeah, it's a weird one. I had to bring it up. A lot of people wanted me to give my take on it. My take is like, go up to Dallas and get your discs. That would be my take, is like after, like, I get it. Something happened where you don't have them. My take would be like, figure out a way to go up and get the discs, or pay someone to bring them down, something. I don't know. All right, moving on. Crazy. All right, coverage. Let's talk about coverage real quick. Uli, there is no cut line on PDGA Live. That's a big miss. That's a big miss.
Huge.
No one has any idea who's close. No one has, like, us as players, we're trying to figure it out. But like for a fan's perspective, like, that's a big miss. You got to get a cut line. Figure it out. I remember I mentioned this to UDisc. I met with some of the guys early on, and they gave me their number, and they're like, hey, if you see anything or whatever, please let me know. And that was one of the things where I was like, you guys have to have a cut line. The fact that you have the cut line is crazy. I think it was like the next day, a cut line was on UDisc. I was like, all right, sick. PDGA Live, you got to have a cut line. Still can't favorite your players. No. So if you're trying to pay attention to certain people, you have to just scroll and look for their name. This was a crazy one. We talked about a little bit about stats. When someone's in the middle of the round, if you click their name, like their stats for that round show up right underneath their score. But then as soon as their score gets turned in, when you click their name, there's no stats for them. Like
there is on the live.
Really? I couldn't find it on the app.
Yeah, some people might not have them, but I know that if I click my name for each round, the stats pop down.
Okay. I could not find that. I'm talking about in the leaderboard, Uli. I'm not talking about if you go to your profile. I'm talking about like in the leaderboard, if I click someone's name. Too. Okay.
Like you can do it right now, I think.
Okay. Another thing is, I noticed this when a player had finished the final day and you click on it, it would take you to day one.
Yeah, annoying.
What?
You're like, this guy shot 11 under? What the heck?
Yeah, why is it taking me to day one? Like, take me to the final round. That was weird. You can't do picture-in-picture anymore, which is like, for me, I love being able to have...
It's the worst.
Have the Disc Golf Network playing and then being able to look at scores at the same time as the coverage is going. Like, it just closed. It closed the app every single time.
Or a little Instagram scroll.
Yes.
You're chilling, you're watching. Yeah.
People were saying use the pip and all that stuff. Every time I clicked the pip, it was closing my entire app. And I know I'm not the only one. There was multiple people on Twitter saying it. So I don't know what's going on. And then you can't screen record. I can't like, I used to do that a lot for the shows. Like I would screen record a clip to show on the show. I get it. It's behind pay-per-view, right? Like I get it in some point, but at the same time, like that's a huge marketing thing. You want people sharing clips of coverage. You want people showing highlights.
As long as they're tagging them, for sure.
I mean, even if they're not, still like just getting it out there, I think is better than like the Disc Golf Pro Tour trying to own everything. And then, I don't know, man. I think that's a miss. To me, that's a miss. Maria Oliva's Instagram says she left her bag in Dallas in her mom's car. Oh, Edwin Stats says there's a workaround for Pip. Great. Exactly. That's what we want. Another question, Uli. Why can't they separate and again, this might be boring for some of the listeners because they're like, oh, who cares? But why can't they separate the caddy books? Why do we not have an FPO caddy book that gets sent out to the FPO players and then an MPO caddy book that gets sent out to the MPO players? We have a caddy book that has all like FPO hole 1, MPO hole 1, then FPO hole 2 is the same as MPO hole 2. And then we almost played one of the holes. We almost played the wrong drop zone because we were like, oh yeah, the drop zone's here. And it was the FPO. Like, luckily someone was like, oh wait, no, that's the FPO. Like you guys, I don't know why they're not separated. That's okay. Yeah. Enough. I'm getting off of my high horse, my soapbox. Moving on. Here we go. Golf bans transgender golfer. This was sent to me as something that maybe could implicate or something that could have implications in disc golf. Transgender golfer Haley Davidson has been banned from the NXXT Women's Tour, and players now need to be a biological female at birth to compete. This was announced on International Women's Day. So I know the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the last time they had a stance on this was like, listen, we don't have the money. PDGA, we don't have the money. We don't have the litigation power. We don't have that to do it. If we start seeing golf now doing it, this could be something that now the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the PDGA can latch onto as, hey, this is what golf is doing. We're going to follow suit. So this was the first I heard of anything in golf doing it. And it's not the LPGA. It's a smaller tour, but still some big news, I guess, for that whole situation. We've got Microsoft Teams presenting partners at the 2024 Preserve Championship. Big name. So that will be pretty cool. It seems like they have some sort of cool collaboration going. So I know that's a big thing. We were talking about Kale earlier. Yep. Shout out to Kale for getting Microsoft Teams. It's, more sponsors outside of disc golf, Uli. That's what we want to see. Lonestar back in the news. This was brought to my attention. Josh Hofstra, I believe, was the marketing director of Lonestar. And he went on Twitter and had a long thread basically saying, in regards to my last, he was saying, maybe it's this one first. Hold on. Let me see real quick. Hold on one second. These threads are sometimes hard to figure out what's what. Okay, I think it's this one first. Okay. It was clear to see from the time that I left that the quality of the marketing as well as the candor in which the company conducts business has taken an absolute nosedive. This is one of the main reasons I've chosen to start these new companies, to promote transparency and operate under the golden rule philosophy. So he's basically coming out and saying that there are people in this world that want to take the sport of disc golf, its players and its revenue stream, and control it for their own selfish gain and burn bridges in the process. There have been several threats directed at myself and others associated with me simply because we are branching out and trying to create a space within our community. This is one of the many reasons why I left a company that I poured my heart and soul into. The patience I've had with the situation is daunting, from threats of physical violence to the treatment of sponsored individuals that associate with me has been nothing but classless. Okay, so a lot of shots from this guy at Lonestar. Now, I will say, I don't think Lonestar's marketing was that great even when he was a part of it. So I don't really know. I don't know what this play was. Is this a play of, it's a very interesting time to come out and say something when you're starting up these new companies. It's a weird time to be like, hey, this is what's happening. You're also jumping on Lonestar, which I think is the easiest company to jump on and to trash, right? So I don't know what to make of this, but Lonestar is back in the news for good or for worse, I guess. So take that for whatever you want. We're moving on. Wild story of the week here. We've got on Christmas break, my friend lost his 2021 Tour Series Paul Macbeth Luna at the course in Charlotte. Because of high demand, these Lunas were not the cheapest disc to get at the time. Some guy found the disc and texted him that he was not giving it back and that he would keep it. Unfortunately for this guy, he forgot that his phone number was visible to us. At least 10 of our friends either called or texted the guy multiple times asking if he could return the disc. To be fair, we could have done it in a less petty way. The guy got so annoyed he started spoiling the third Spider-Man movie, which had just come out. I guess the lesson is, if you're going to take someone's disc, don't text them bragging about it. Oh my gosh, it seems like a petty war back and forth. So they were just like being annoying and blowing this guy's phone up, I guess. And then he was annoyed by them blowing his phone up that he started spoiling Spider-Man. All right, that's kind
of funny.
That's a funny story, kind of crazy. All right, Edwin Stats. We're gonna fly through some of these stats real quick. Based on 2023 numbers, WACO would rank as the second lowest scoring event, led by the Beast, where the average score was 28% lower than Lake WACO. This is an interesting stat, Uli, over here, where he's starting to break down these course overviews by feet to par. So Brazo East is 123 feet to par. It's the number one out of the 23 events we play. Lake WACO is 165 feet to par. So it's actually one of the longer courses, 18 out of 23 that we play. Average score to par, the only course that plays easier than WACO, or the only tournament that plays easier than WACO, is Preserve, where the average score to par is -15. WACO, it was -14. Looking over at the Beast versus WACO, you can kind of see Lake WACO had more OB. Lake WACO had a lower green in regulation, also had a lower birdie rate. So Lake WACO was a good addition into the tournament to try to kind of combat the easy scoring at the Beast. Gannon Buhr came back to win by one stroke, led mostly by his putting, where he set a record for total putting distance, 2,024 feet. This is his first Elite Series win as a member of Team Discmania. Led the event birdie rate at 58%. Led the field in Circle 2 putting. Played the Beast at -20. Lake WACO at -17. Let's see what else. Key numbers: 19.6. That was Gannon's average distance for made putts. Some player story times down here. Nate Sexton turned back the clock. AB had a strong follow-up to his first elite win, and the Tour Life crew representative. Well, one of us did. Nate Sexton finished top 10. His best finish since 2023 WACO. Interesting. I would not have guessed WACO was going to be his other best finish. AB followed up his win at chess.com with an impressive T4 finish. He actually played the Beast better. That's surprising. He shot 18 under at the Beast, 13 under at Lake WACO. Very interesting. Uli, 18th place, best elite event finish since Idlewild. You were second in C1X putting, 97%. Holy smokes. And you were third in strokes gained putting at 7.4. And then he threw on me as just maybe some chopped liver stuff. Only player to finish in the top 10 in both C1X putting and C2 putting. Oh, that sucks. That just shows you how bad I threw the disc.
That's awesome, though.
I was 10. Oh, yeah, I putted pretty well, I guess. Except for that 15-footer I missed. Finished 11th in strokes gained putting. All right. So there you have it. Stats. Let's do the Manufacturer Cup update. After the second event, you've got Discmania. I mean, no shock here. You have Gannon Buhr first, Nicholas Antilla second, and then you also had Kyle Klein finishing in 7th, and then a slew of players finishing in 10th. So Discmania in a big lead at 69.5. Discraft just behind at 60. And then you've got Prodigy, Dynamic, Mint, Westside, Innova. I mean, that really shows Calvin not being there, hurting Innova quite a bit. Casaplast, MVP, and DGA. All right. This week in Foundation Disc Golf, you guys have heard me talk about this a lot. Connor finally did it. He aced hole number 3 at Peaks View.
Oh my gosh.
I think it took him 12 hours total. I think he tried it for like 8 hours or 7 hours the first attempt. Then he did like another 2 hours or so. And then this one was just like an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes. So he finally got it done. Shout out to Connor for getting it done. Very, very cool. There is a live stream if you guys do want to go check that out. We got a big podcast disc drop. Tour Life, Grip Locked, and In the Bag disc drop this Friday, folks, at 5 p.m. Eastern. Those are some of the Tour Life discs. I think we're sending those, Uli, to your home. You should have those probably after
perfect.
Austin or after Houston, whenever you get back. You should have some of those. We also have some performance trucker hats back in stock at foundationdiscgolf.com. I'm going to answer a couple of these questions and then we'll end it because this is a long one. This is a good one, Uli. I want to hear your answers here. Thoughts on tee times this week for the last day? Lots of spacing between the last three cards. No backups, but feels like it minimizes some drama as hot rounds from the other cards are coming in. So here's how the spacing work. It was 15 minutes spacing all day. So you, I guess, had 15 minutes in front of you, 15 minutes behind you. But for the lead cards, there was a 35-minute gap between the fourth card and the third card. Then there was a 20-minute gap between the second card and lead card. So what ended up happening was the third card was putting out on 18. The second card was on hole 13. And then lead card was on a hole 11. So there was like a massive gap. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, they're trying to combat backups. I get that. But I hate this.
No, I don't like it at all. Give everybody the same gap. That's what's fair.
Yeah, and then just
if
make
I have
people play
backups
fast.
and you don't have backups, that's unfair because of you giving the lead card 35 extra minutes. And then you'll get the argument, well, you just should have played better. No, I shouldn't have. What do you mean? I should still be allowed my same amount of time as same as them.
A crazy one. I didn't know they did that, but it made sense because at a certain point you really only had 8 guys playing the course, and like there was no one else on the course. It was very wild. It was very wild. Let's see here. Let's go one more question. I'll answer some of these the next day. Oh, this is a good one from Keenan. What happened to the trophy presentation after submission of scores? I thought that was happening this year, but so far, from what I've seen, it's still happening right after putt. I thought the same thing. Didn't they mention that there was going to be, we were going to submit scores and then there was going to be a trophy presentation? What happened with that?
Don't know. Needs to happen. Didn't happen. Hasn't happened.
They're still just handing guys trophies right after they tap out. The scores haven't been submitted yet.
That was weird because even when Anthony won, it was bizarre because obviously we all tour with him. So we're waiting to rush him and to have like a moment with our buddy. You know what I mean? And they're like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You can only have like 3-4 people go rush up there. And you have to wait for something to happen. And then he has his interview. And so there's no time. I'm like, no, you're missing moments. Like these are moments that mean like this is a big deal. You know what I mean? Like if there's a trophy presentation afterwards, you don't need an interview right there. You need them to celebrate, score his card, take it in, and then do the trophy presentation. That's what I think.
Did you happen to see this photo, Uli? And for those listening, you might you need to come to our YouTube right now and go to this timestamp because is this a doctored photo?
It's gotta be.
Is that Photoshop?
Yes, because look at the camera guy. Camera guy's smaller.
Did they make everyone small, or did they make AB tall, or did they do both? I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what I'm looking at. This is a wild photo, though. When I saw this, I was like, what the heck is that? All right. Let's get to some housekeeping. I got the Get Lucky. This is dropping also on Friday. The Get Lucky Avenger SS. Jawbreaker ESP drops this Friday. The new
love it.
new line, I guess, of get something, get freaky, get beefy, get flippy. I think I'm missing one. There might be another one too. But the next one is the Get Lucky. St. Patrick's Day, just around the corner. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Oh, I think this is actually dropping Sunday. I should probably know that. For some reason, I want to say it's dropping Sunday night. No, Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. This is get sneaky. Thank you. This is dropping Friday. Get lucky. There you go. I hope you all get lucky and get the disc you want in the drop. We've got Z-Lite Thrashers on the site. Lots of new discs on the site. So go check out teamdiscraft.com. There are tons of Z-Lite Vultures, Nuke OSs, Nukes.
The Vulture's mine. There's only a few colors left, so make sure you go get them right now. They went really quick. Those Vultures are sick.
We have Z-Lite Janus Thrashers, which I don't know. I didn't know everyone was coming out with Z-Lite discs, and so when they threw up the photos of everyone, it has everyone's name, and it just says Janus, and I'm like, I think I left a comment on that Instagram post like, one of these is not like the others. Had I known that we were all gonna come out with Z-Lite discs, I think we would have probably passed on doing like a Janus run of Thrashers, but it is what it is. People love the Janus Thrashers, so get yourself some Z-Lite Vultures, some Z-Lite Janus Thrashers, and everyone else on Team Discraft. Go check it out. Thanks to all our new members of Tour Life crew tonight. Got a couple new people that joined in. Let me see. Matthew
How many do we have live?
How many people are watching right now?
Yeah.
1,500 people.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, no, it's great. Jake S. joined Tour Life crew. I think there was one more. I can't find it. But yeah, thanks to everyone that's a part of that has joined Tour Life crew and all the members. It's really cool seeing all your guys' colors. We've had it so long now, Uli, that people are starting to get different color badges, which is awesome, really cool. So you've got like some people that have the green badge, and then some people now have the red. I think there was one other badge I saw earlier. I'll have to go back and look. Oh yeah, we have a blue. So very cool to see. All right, Tour Life merch update. After Yuli's big pump up speech last week, what are we at, Silas?
All right, so Grip Locked is at 200. They finally hit the 200 mark.
Well, I'm not surprised.
It took them a while. It took them a few weeks.
They pushed it hard.
Yeah, and we are sitting at 239. So we are 39 ahead of them.
All right, we're very close to 250. Let's try to get 250. Go to foundationdisc.com. Check out all the Tour Life merch. We'll try to get to 250 next episode. Uli, you got anything else? This was a long one. Just about 3 hours, brother. 2 big interviews, big tournament,
man.
Elite Series, Elite Plus, no longer a series. Moving on to the Austin tournament this week. I'll be down there for a practice round. Very excited. And that's it. Thank you guys all for watching. Thank you, Uli. Thank you, Silas, always. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.